How about now? Yep. Knock it off. Are you working? Okay. Hey. Talking heads. Okay. So, now it's working, right, folks? I just realized I don't have a new cable. Oop, I'll be right back. Because, of course, every decent cable, USB cable I've got of any length is USB-C, and this thing takes a USB-B, or, micro C as opposed to micro whatever was previous to that. And I have adapters that'll turn an old one into a C, but not the other way around. So actually, I can't change out this cable. That was weird, though. Twice in a freaking row. I keep putting it off, is what I was saying when you couldn't hear me earlier. And I know I shouldn't. I know I need to replace this cable because it just keeps failing and everything else has been ruled out. But I just keep hoping that if I bury my head in the sand long enough, it'll just be fine. And clearly, that is not the case. So hello, everybody. And now we got our one technical difficulty out of the way. So from now on, everything will be smooth sailing as long as I don't reach into my pocket again when my phone beeps at me and blind myself, because I just did it a second ago and the light was on. And geez, this is a bright light when you look directly into it. It's like this. And actually, I've now given myself sunspots. I shouldn't have done that just for comedic effect. But okay, so that's 2. Although 3, because I just duplicated my first one a second time on camera. But hopefully the sound will go. And folks, you know what to do. If the sound cuts out, scroll down below the video and there's the stickers plug-in. And if my sound just drops, find the bomb and start dropping lots of bombs in my ear so that I know that I've got to stop and rewind a little bit and fix the microphone again. Oh my gosh. And I can't believe it. I knew the cable I was going to use, but it's a USB-C, and this thing is a USB whatever is... all right, I'm repeating myself now. That's not what we're here to do. You're not here to watch me repeat myself. You're here to watch me, first of all, while waiting for people to show up. We're going to unbox something, folks. And then I'm going to film the monthly roundup talking about 17 games. And then we'll do some Q&A afterwards. That is the plan for today. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully you will not fail me again, Mike. But you folks get to decide which of these games I'm going to unbox. We've got the Guild of Merchant Explorers. I just checked. There are no videos of this anywhere. There's... you can download the rules on Board Game Geek, and I think there's a couple of screenshots. Here's a closer look. It's from Matt Dunstan and Brett Gilbert, a great design duo, and it's some kind of exploring thing. Then there is Fear and Stone from Klaus Jürgen Werder, or Mr. Carcassonne himself. This is another big board all about exploring and finding stuff. And then there is Yak. Jeez Louise, this box is ridiculously heavy because it's got huge, big, chunky components of these yaks that are moving. I think it's like a mobile rondelle or something like that with the rise of the fog or something. So, I'm going to unbox one of them, maybe two, depending on how long it takes. But you folks are going to decide which ones it'd be. This is not the R&R show. This is the overhead I should have been showing you. Back, and that's not that. That's you. Oh my gosh, I'm just falling apart. I can't be counted on to do anything correctly now. All right. Can I make a poll? Yes, I can. Boxiness time. Alrighty, Yak. Guild of Merchant Explorers. EXPs, because you have to keep them very short. And what was the other one? Oh, Fire and Stone. Okay, folks, you have 3 minutes to pick one of these. Maybe two, depending on how much stuff is in there. So I think some of these are actually fairly simple. So at very least, I'm going to do one of them, maybe two of them. So you might just be choosing, which one am I not going to open today? Cheap Sheep Game says, how about option 4? All three! But then that would defeat the purpose of the voting. I need to give you we need to have audience participation, of course. Alrighty. Oh, I'm covering myself up. Because I moved this so that Ruel's face wouldn't be covered up. It's fine. You know what I look like. Right, so the voting continues. I guess I can just get down here. Hello. Hi, everybody. Can you still hear me? I hope you can. Let's just relax for a bit while you folks pick your poison. How's it going? Let's see here. I'll put my one vote in. And it looks like it's close between Guild of Merchant Explorers and Yak. Fire and Stone not getting as much love. Alrighty. Yak, again, the big game components in this game. You can kind of see over there. Merchant and Guild Explorers and Fire and Stone, both a little bit less ambitious, bit more traditional Euro-y type fare. I did, when I unbox, I actually spent a little bit of time this morning learning a bit about each of these so I could try to do an informed unboxing instead of, I don't know what any of this stuff is. Well, that's neat looking. So, hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit of an intro to what the games are also, if I can remember, because the main thing I was trying to stuff into my head is all the games I have to talk through in the roundup today, because I play a lot of games, and they get mixed up in my head. I don't know if you've noticed, folks, I'm a bit of a scatterbrain from time to time. How did I give myself this job that I have to keep hundreds of games in my head at all times? Okay, Merchant, wow. By pretty big lead, 50%. Put Guild of Merchant Explorers above all else. Yak number 2, Fire and Stone number 3. Alrighty. Well, and I was one of the voters for Fire and Stone. Alright, because it's from Carcassonne! It's the Carcassonne man! But anyway, Pegasus, I'll get to you in the future. Let's see. And let's open up the Guild of Merchant Explorers. Boop. Alright. I have no fingernails. I have this habit of not chewing my fingernails, but just kind of peeling them off and throwing them away. So they're always very ragged and very short. I really should just clip them like a grown-up 52-year-old man that I am. But nope, I still act like a child. There we go. Here we go. Okay, what do we got in the Guild of Merchant Explorers from publisher AEG? Explore the land, discover new areas and old ruins, reconnect the kingdom of Tagome. The Queen has sent out a call to the Guild of Merchant Explorers asking brave adventurers to voyage to all corners of the kingdom. While the kingdom is flourishing, its maps have not been updated in quite some time, and its great cities have lost contact with one another. Oh no. With your team of explorers, you will journey over rough seas, towering mountains, vast deserts, and lush grasslands to establish trade routes between cities and discover new villages that have emerged. And now here's the deal, folks. From what I saw of this, a little bit of reading I did this morning, this kind of gives me the vibe of AEG's answer and Matt Dunstan and Brett Gilbert's answer to Kingdom Builder. It has kind of a reverse Kingdom Builder vibe going on. So let's see, what do we got going on here? We've got, there went the box cover, a rule book. AEG, I tend to think, does a very good job with rule books by and large. I have not read this, but looks pretty straightforward. Not too terribly long. The most accomplished explorers can record their achievements here. Does anybody ever do this? I know for a while, what was his name? Friedman Freeze would, in the rule book put on the back, hey, here's a bunch of ththings you could try to do, and mark your achievements. And I don't know, does anybody actually write in their rule books? That seems crazy to me, unless it's a legacy game. All right, so, this is interesting. So these are the player boards. They are not cardboard. They are floppy. I love that floppy sound. And, but they are, the linen finish. They've got a linen finish on, so they have a nice feel to them. They feel like just very, very big playing cards. Personally, I know some people will hate that, some people, but I like, I prefer cardstock player boards to actual boards, because from all my years living in Malta, actual player boards tend to warp, whereas cardstock I've always found tend to lie flat, especially I guess if they're linen finished like this. All right, so these are apparently at least two-sided. They've got two different kingdoms to explore. Oh, but wait, here's another kingdom and another kingdom. Looks like there are enough of these boards for everybody. And yep, 4 different kingdoms to explore. So you get a little bit of variety with all of that. Let's go ahead and zoom in real close. Do I need to focus? There we go. I don't know if that was focused or not. But here's what you're playing on. That's what you're exploring. So obviously it'd be a central board. That is a board. Keeping track of the different cards, because I know there's ages 1, 2, and 3, and I guess this must be a discard pile. Okay. Lot of punch boards. Lots of coins. And little things to mark, no doubt, when you build villages, I think, probably. These look like little tiny treasure chests that you can punch out, and little tiny gems. Okay. And the bits. All right, so it looks like we've got some little towers you can build, and each player has a set of stuff they can do. Wah! Bunch of cubes. Looks like these are little cities that you put to mark. And then, of course, there were the towers that you get to mark on your boards. All right. So we've got all of that business. Oh, don't lose them. Put them back in the box. And finally, the cards themselves. And don't worry, folks. I'm actually going to explain what I understand this game to be after I'm done opening everything. So, yeah. These, right. So there are special, all right. Oh, these are slippery. All right, so it looks like there's a bunch of treasures we can find as we explore. Although it looks less like treasures and more like special powers. Yep, yeah. Okay, so these are scoring cards that we can get as we explore. Money based on how many towers we've got, put extra cubes down, various and sundry things. These are the explore cards. And as I recall, what happens, this is why I said this kind of has a kingdom builder vibe, because every round, everybody's got their board in front of them. Everybody's got all their pieces. Everybody's got their starting capital that they're going to spread out. And we draw a card, and the card says, everybody do this. And then next round, everybody do that. And then next round, oh, there's another one because I haven't actually shuffled these. And next round, everybody do this. And then next round, everybody do one of these. And so on. So this deck, of course, is all shuffled up. And we are taking these directions and spreading out different directions. Crossing the sea, reaching towers, connecting capitals, doing objectives and whatnot. And so, over the course of the game, oh, let's do the one that says go in a straight line. I go 1, 2, and hey, I've made it to the other side, but I can't do it quite enough. But then later on, if we get another water one, I could this time do a 1, 2, 3 because I think the water is 3 straight in a line. So you have to make choices, and I believe this, like Kingdom Builder, is a game where you leave your options open. You try to branch out so you have a lot of different things you can do every time one of these cards comes up. And you are trying your best to explore the world, complete objectives, and all the rest of it. And yeah, so that's the Guild of Merchant Explorers from AEG. I wonder, I bet you. Well, first of all, I am confident the game will be good because I want to say Gilbert and Sullivan, but that's not it. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, no. Gilbert and Dunstan. These two are fantastic whenever they work together. So I expect a good game, maybe at the same kind of, depth level of a, what do you call it? Oh, wait, hey, here's a whole bunch more cards. Let's look at these. I've been thinking of the depth level of Tiny Towns kind of a thing. But again, I like that. I love Kingdom Builder. I love the fact that, yeah, it's just one card every turn. And some people say, oh, that means it tells you what to do and you can't make any choices. I'm like, no, you definitely make choices. The challenge is working within those constraints. Looks like these are a bunch of cards maybe in different player colors. No, there wasn't a purple player color. All right, so these it looks like various and sundry objectives you're trying to chase after while being smart about how you expand around in the world. Okay. So, that is the Guild of Merchant Explorers. Boom! And how are we doing here? All right, I need to close you. And I need... Okay, yep, all right. Hey, we haven't... all right, we don't need to get started yet. Still only 37 folks. So, one more unboxing. It's the big yak time. Wah! Alrighty, build higher, higher and higher. Your local elder gave you the task of constructing great stone towers to help traveling merchants and their yaks find your village in the Himalayas. Each player strategically builds their stone tower by trading food to specific merchants for stones. However, the dense fog of this region might disorient the yaks and ruin your construction plans. Work through the fog and the strategy of your opponents to build your way to victory. Okay, let's do that. I'm not actually going to do that. We're just going to look at how you would do that. Yak. Okay, Michael Liu, what do you got for us? And Pretzel Games. We, of course, have a rulebook. A very short rulebook. Because Pretzel Games focuses on making really simple, quick, fun, family, gateway-level games. Oh, we've got to make the Himalayas. All right, so I don't know how this punches out, how these work together. I think there's probably something that holds all this together. And I know these... Oh, here's a picture. Oh, okay, so, all right, so these fold up, and I see, there we go. So, we have a tile holder over here on one side, right next to the Himalayas. I don't know. Do unboxings, do people expect me to actually put the stuff together? I would think so. So, here's our thing that holds the little fog tiles, or the fog cubes, I believe they are. These are the things that you decorate your yak carts with, so let's grab a couple of those. Looks like we make probably a first player marker thing there. Put the rest off to the side. Let's go to the board. Very, very colorful. Absolutely lovely looking. There we go. So, this is the road and the bridge that the yaks walk around on. Each player sits in front of one side, and so every round, the yaks are going to come around, and I can see, here's where the yaks are. Last round, this round, they're going to move over here, and I'm going to get access to this stuff in front of me, and next round, they're going to move over here in front of that player, and so on. Although, the yaks, as I said, can get discombobulated and turn around and go in different directions and all of that. So, that's the crux of the game, and here are our gigantic building blocks. No little cubes in this game. I have huge hands, folks. And yet I can barely hold a handful of these gigantic blocks that we are going to use to build our personal pyramids. So we got a whole bunch of those. Oh, and I shouldn't have ripped open the bag because there was a thingy in it. Oh, silly me. All right, here we go. This is what we're here for. The yaks and the yak carts, although some assembly required. This thing needs wheels. This yak needs horns. So here's the wheels, the bag of wheels. So we put some wheels on. And they are real. They are functioning wheels. They spin. And, right, where's the horns? Oh, that's the first player, Baby Yak. Where are the horns? Show me the horns. Gotta have some horns now. We want the horns. Are they under here? All right. Player boards. Nice dual layer player board. Keeping, this would be where you actually build your pyramid with all the different pieces. And it's dual layer to kind of hold them in place as you build higher and higher. All right, this is Yak's Milk and various other resources we will be using over the course of the game. A score track, more player boards. Okay, now I'm just kind of getting worried. I have run out of places to look for the horns. Are they under? Nope. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's look in another bag. This has the yak and the thing. All right, some cards. We'll come back to that. Where are the horns, everybody? Are there any horns in here? No, there are definitely not. Just the meat and the other stuff. Were they in here? Are they in this bag? Which I'm sure is where we draw all the things out of. Wow, how interesting. I mean, I can show you here because there is the first player marker, and its horns are in position. So you just snap them in place, I think. There we go. And, it goes on only one way. Like an old USB jack. Boy, I didn't know I needed to have my glasses on to be able to see how to put this in, but my 52-year-old eyes are having a hard time in here. All right, this is the flat side. There we go. Come on, get in there. All right, I'm just going to show you one side. And I'm going to have to do this in a bright, well-lit room, but you can imagine the other horn, and you can imagine these. I know the way this works is these snap in. There we go. And there we go. So this is very cool, but it would be much cooler with the yak horns. All right, don't want to lose the one yak horn I have found so far. Let's put that over there. This is really weird. I mean, there's not that much in here. I don't feel like I could have missed it. All right, let's just open the bag on the other side. All the pieces. All the pyramid pieces. Nope, no horns anywhere in here. I might have to contact Pretzel Plan B because I got no horns, folks. Wow. I am pretty confident there are no other places I could look. So, I have deformed... Oh, wait, here they are. How did I miss that? All right. Saved by the horns. There we go. Let's go on ahead and finish what we started, trying desperately not to lose any of these things. Hopefully I can get the bigger one in better. There we go. And another one right there. Nope, that's wrong side. That's the wrong side. There we go. Nope, that's upside down. Oh, they're all of one. And so these are all the other side's horns. Okay. Phew. I was really nervous there for a second. And again, this side is incredibly hard to get in. Why is this happening? There we go. That's it, folks. The horns. So, depending on the player count, you will have 2, 3, or 4 of these in every round. They move around, and you can see they are set up to hold a whole bunch of stones and other resources that are moving around from village to village. And so you can see what's coming to you. You know, as they get filled up over time. And, and players, I do know they do have the ability to turn them around and go the other way, or grab things off of stuff that's not in front of them, all those kinds of special powers. But every round, when this thing comes in front of you and you've got your own board where you're trying to build, you either spend the resources you have collected, the food, to pay the merchant to get these so you can start building. Or you say, I don't want any of this stuff. And so you spend a turn gathering more resources to take care of the next merchant who's coming down the road. And then we've got all of these cards. Looks like different goals for the colors of the way you want to build your pyramids for different points. So colors do matter as you're building your pyramids. Or, hey, colors matter. Stay away from those. Nobody wants that color or whatever it might be. So there's some objectives. And then there's these cards. I'm not sure what these do because the little preview video that I watched didn't even mention that there were cards. But that is all very interesting. Looks like different effects, different events. Who knows? All right. And that's Yak. Phew, yakety yak. Don't talk back. And I mean, yeah, this is cool. The fact that the wheels actually turn as it goes around. That. Oh, and finally, yeah, I had these out. These, I remember, you put them in because they are a visual reminder of, the contents of them. It looks like there's different ones. So I guess different merchants carry different things. That I'm not sure about. I didn't read the rules. I just watched a quick video. So, but this is and this is from the same publishing house that brought us Azul and Reef. And so I expect, while this is a very simple, family-friendly game to learn, it probably has what you call the hidden depths. All right. I just need to move all this out of the way, which means I'm going to grab the empty thing from the Museum of Explorers. Come on, everybody. Off the table. Off the table, into the box. And I think, this is where the fog builds up, and when the fog, hits too hard, that's when the yaks all get knocked off course. All right. And there go the horns. Don't lose those sweet, sweet horns. And come on, buddy. Yeehaw! Right into, and a big crash. I'll clean all of this up later. Because we, I think, are now finished. I have given folks enough time. We've been doing this for half an hour. So, enough of the silliness. Let's get ready to round up. Although, let's actually stop for a second because I've been going so fast. I didn't say hi to anybody. So let me back up here. Hey, Flashburn. Hey, Jacob. Subscribing. Thank you for the subscribe, Jacob. We are so close. Just a few more followers, and we will unlock a new top 10. I suspect I'll be doing another communal top 10 next month. But thanks for the subscribe to get another RVR. And, right, let's see. Flashburn, who else is here? Cheap Sheep Games and To Live and Die, Dice in LA. Hello to you. Hello, Hero Logic. Hello, Bing. Hello, Eclectic Camel. Hello, Cheap Sheep. I already said hello to you. Hello, Gizmo Burr. I don't recognize you, Gizmo Burr, if you're new here or relatively new. Did you miss the announcement? No, I haven't announced the announcement yet because I haven't actually started filming the show yet. What I'm really here to do today is record my monthly Rahdo Rounds Up, where I, do my State of the Union and whatnot. So when I get to that, when I'm actually recording the rounds up, I'll start saying, hey, in case you missed it, Amy and Maggie went live with their first video today and all of that. So you haven't missed it yet, Gizmo. Alrighty. Who else am I saying hello to? Don Gilstrap, GenCam 1981. Hello, Faye Forest of Glass, Rianne B. And okay, I think I've said hello to everybody. Now I should actually, I don't know, there's like a whole chat full of people here. I should actually see what you people are saying, shouldn't I? Although, first of all, thank you. Elt Mini Pieces. Excellent. Another subscribe. Getting closer by the second. Elt, because you just subscribed, sometime in the next 4 or 5 minutes, you will notice your name on one of those little avatars walking around down at the bottom of the screen, and you'll be able to start customizing them, change your color, your hats, all kinds of stuff. And there's a list of commands down there, too, so you can have fun, dueling people or all kinds of business. All right, I'm actually going to slow down for a second and actually not just skim through and look for names. I'm actually going to look to see what people are saying. Okay, at the first people were talking about my audio. So far my audio's been, this is the day, folks, I swear. After I'm done with this, I'm going to go out and buy the most expensive USB cable I can that is long enough, or the highest quality one, magnetically shielded, maybe powered, I don't know, because this is getting so ridiculous that it keeps falling apart like that. Pantomime today. Yeah, or that's my other option. Just work on my mime skills and see if that's what pushes me over the top on the algorithm. Alrighty. Let's see. Explorers, all right. Oh, yeah. Sorry, no. Sorry, Cheap Sheep. Here's okay, I'm not opening Firestone, but I will tell you what's so cool about this. I mean, this looks like it's from designer of Carcassonne, so you expect a lighter family weight game. Everything starts with all the pieces face down, and players are taking turns exploring. Because this actually recreates the early hunter-gatherer days of mankind. But the interesting thing about the game to me was that there are these special power cards you can get. And, they'll help you move or do special things. But there are also cards that will score you points. And the thing is, if you want to get the cards that score you points, you have to put them on the special powers, eliminating the special power. So you want to keep that special power because it's helping you move forward, but someday you have to let it go so that you can actually score points off it instead. And I love that. Very few games put you in that situation. I mean, the main one I can think of is Mirror Me's a million years ago, that it's a worker placement game where you have to give up your workers to lock in victory points. And I always think that kind of, I need these things, but they don't score me any points, but they move me forward. I have to give them, that kind of thing. So I'm really looking forward to that one too. But I understand why people didn't vote for it. I think it was visually the least interesting of the bunch, but I think it might have the best gameplay, actually. Although, Gilbert and Sullivan, who knows? And again, it's not a musical. Alrighty. Oh, Bing used to, wow, I am not that hardcore with my nails. It's just like a habitual thing. It's actually, Jen does not like this at all, but, when we're watching TV at night, I'll do this, and I've got this little tiny dish that's kind of, at the bottom of the side table that's just out of sight, out of mind, so Jen can't see it. If she sees out of corner of mind, I'm doing this, and I'm just kind of reaching back and putting it in the little dish so I can clean the dish out the next morning. And I'm sure that's way TMI for a lot of people, and I apologize for that. But it's just, what is it, keratin? Is that, it's no big deal, folks. It's okay. But yeah. Alrighty. Happy birthday. Happy Thursday, says Forrest. A happy Thursday to you as well. Alright. Oh, Dawn did answer the question. You only ever recorded achievements in the rulebook for one game. What was the game? That was, perhaps you'll answer later. Alright. And Jen does not care about, I mean, I'm genuinely curious, Dawn. You said you did do it once. Why? What put you over the top? Oh, there we go. It was Heroes of Tennefer. Oh, your kids wanted to do it. The 11 and 12-year-old, very into recording. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, the reason I'm always hesitant to do it is because it hurts the resale value. Because I still hold on to that. I mean, it doesn't. But, especially since these... Actually, you know what? If anything, games I get rid of, I don't trade them away anymore or try to sell them on Board Game Geek. I send them down to the Dice Tower West library so that people can play them at the convention. I bet you it makes them more valuable if people check it out and they go to the fact and say, oh, here's the points Rahdo and Jen made. Oh, Rahdo did this particular achievement. It would probably actually enhance them for that purpose. I never thought about that till just this second. Alrighty. When will we be getting a run through? You must have been talking about the Explorers. Well, that depends on what the voters think. Actually, after I'm done today, I have to get the vote going for May. Because the voters choose, as they always have, since the very, very first video I ever did 10 years ago, the voters have always chose what I run through every month. So, if Explorers gets enough votes, it will get covered. If it doesn't, it's probably something I really want to play, so I'll play it, and at the very least, I'll talk about it in the following roundup at the end of May, because I'm very excited about it. But I suspect it'll probably get enough votes. It might not, though. Actually, let's take a second and look at the list of potential games that could get covered, because now I'm curious. Where do I need to go to? Go to this browser view. So this is, anybody can get to this link. This is pubsent.rahdo.com, and you can see Save Patient Zero is going to show up in a couple days. Great Western Trail 2nd edition. If this goes on the list, I am certain this will. Oh, I just need to. I'm sure people will vote for this because I would demonstrate the solo mode in the 2nd edition. But there's Fire and Stone, there's Yak, there's Guild of Merchant Explorers, Search for Lost Species also showed up, Perseverance. I bet you those. Now, here's the other thing. Dinosaur World just showed up. So I'd be willing to bet this is going to get a lot of votes. I'm probably covering that. And heck, maybe both of them will. Maybe I shouldn't put both on the ballot, though. Maybe one dinosaur island world thing per month is enough. And then here's some other ones. The longer this goes, some of these games I've had for months or even years on the shelf, and they just do not get enough votes. Someday I plan on covering all all of these games, going all the way back to Peloponnese card game Patronus, because, these were submitted to me by publishers. But this is my shame. This is a physical wall in the next board, constantly reminding me that I am failing in my duties. All of these have been submitted to me for run-throughs, or at the very least, if not run-throughs, play them and talk about them in a monthly roundup. And, hey, the new stuff that comes in, that tends to be the stuff that gets the most votes. But someday, before I'm old and gray, I am old and gray, before I'm done with this channel, all of these things will have gotten covered in some form or other. Some form other than just me reminding you of all of that list. So, so maybe it'll make it. But if I were a betting man, I'd say Dinosaur World is going to get covered. Do I even want to put Great Western Trail solo? I need to look to see how different. Whoa! What just happened? Dragons just throw in 7,900. Whoa! Hello! Well, you know what Dragons just did? Dragons just cracked the code. There's going to be another run-through next month, folks. That is one more run-through that's going to happen. And because that run-through, thanks to Dragons, who just had that huge explosive, filled this up, I kind of feel like you folks should choose. What is the game that I'm gonna throw a click mini. This is what you get for showing up, folks. You get to help pick what channels get right. So I think I can only put. All right, what gets covered next month? Thanks, Drag. Alrighty, so here's the deal. I don't want to put in the obvious ones because, you're human. You'll want to see the hotness too. Let's see. Well, first of all, let's put the ones I just talked about. Fire and Stone, Yak, Guild of Merch Explorers. Right, I can put two more on. Let's see here. Alrighty. Oh, I gotta take some time. I did do that one. DTT. I feel like I want to put some older ones on there. That, like some big shame. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to decide. I'm going to put the ones I am personally most excited about that I know are unlikely to get chosen by the regular voters. Excuse me. People who vote are the backers of my Patreon show. Wow, thank you so much, Dragons. You're the first time that ever super multi-explosive bits thing ever happened. That was so awesome. And targeted perfectly to hit the goal. That was so cool. Right, what do I want to play? Okay. Oh, I know. I really want to try May Show, which is it's a solo or two-player game, imperfect communication, cooperative game where we're trapped in a tomb trying to find our way out before we run out of air. That is just so cool and evocative. I'm really interested in that one. Let's bring the browser back up. So this one, I have been wanting to play this one for quite a while. May Show. Let's see what else. Yeah, okay, if I'm doing this, okay, I know I want to play Fire and Stone because I want to see that, that cool twist on the Maramis. You have to sacrifice things to score points. Yak looks like fun. I'm sure it'll be great, but I'm sure it's really best, for kids. So I think I'm going to take that one off. Guild of Merchant Explorers, I'm very excited about. What is the Search for Lost Species? Somebody just told me they're sending me that. Oh, Matt O'Malley and Ben Rossett from Renegade. Search for Planet X. Now, this is one that might get enough votes because Search for Planet X is so hot. And this is basically the sequel. Instead of searching for Planet X, we're searching for lost species. So I bet you this one's going to get heat anyway. So I don't need to put that one on the list. I need to mark Shinkansen Zero Kai as no longer. I'm going to say it is no longer on the wish list or want to play. It's just owned because that's how this list works. If I update the list now, Shinkansen Zero Kai is gone. I really want to try Museum Pictura, and people are just not having it. EUM Pictura. Because it's a follow-up to Museum. It looks like it's a light. Oh, and I really want to try Watch, too. Just because of the subject matter. Being in a former munitions factory and post World War II Russia that has been converted into a watch manufacturing facility, and yet we're still trying to smuggle munitions out. That is such a fascinating subject. And you know what? I really want to do voices in my head too, because there's a 2-player mode. Now I got to take one out. Okay, I'm going to take museum picture. I'm going to put voices in my head in. Voices in my head. These are the 5 that I'm really interested in. You folks are going to pick one of them. This is an extra run through that is going to happen next month, thanks to Dragon. And very, very generous. Thank you so much. That's the thing, folks. You want an extra run through every month? All you got to do is just fill that bar that Dragon's just filled. So anyway, though. Voices in My Head originally was a 3-player minimum game, and it's got a dexterity, courtroom drama, multiple personality thing. It seems very, very cool, and it looks like it stars Rodney Smith. So let's see which one of those you folks are going to vote on. I feel like I should just let Dragon vote for it, but you made this happen. Thank you again so much. Let's come back to the talking head so I can hide behind this. What are you folks choosing so far? Guild of Merch Explorers. Yeah. See, I think any of these 5 being on the regular ballot, none of them will get enough votes to get covered. So, I mean, whichever one you choose, folks, you are, and I'm going to put May Show. There's my one vote for May Show. Of all of them, that's the one I'm most interested in, because I just love, Jen loves Survivor and Naked and Afraid. Well, no, not Naked and Afraid. We stopped watching that, but Alone. They're just these kind of extreme survival shows and whatnot. So that's my vote. But don't be spurred by that. Right, looks like Guild of Merch Explorers is coming in hot, and that's very, very cool. And what do we got? Okay, we got a few seconds left. So, wow, this is not how I expected things to go, but thank you so much. And, you know what? While we're doing this, I'm going to go on ahead and reset the counter. All right, so I got to go to this page, and so we can start building up bits for the next bonus run-through that will happen. All right, where is that? That is the bits goal. All righty. So, all right, and how far did you go over? No, you hit exactly. You put in the exact number of bits. So I am going to end the goal. All righty, and then we're going to set it up again. And so we can start accruing for another game in the future. 0. Boom. There we go. All right. Oh, and Guild of Merchant Explorers. Okay, folks, you made that happen. I almost guarantee it was very unlikely that was going to get covered next month, but now it is, thanks to Dragons and all the rest of you. And that's what you get for showing up for the live show. People who watch this later on YouTube can only say, oh, I would have voted for this or that or the other. But hey, if you're listening to this in podcast form in a few days, or if you're watching on YouTube, hopefully you're still enjoying the show. This is certainly a very big dramatic moment for me. All righty. Let's see here. What is next? I think I've been doing this for 45 minutes with you folks now. Or no, -8, because I start 8 minutes before for the countdown. So I've been doing this for 36 minutes with you folks now, which I think is enough. It is time to start the run-through. So let me get ready. Let me scroll back down, see if anything else showed up. Jeez Louise. Yeah, Dragon said in his 7,000, and I don't even know how, 7,901 bit donation. Thank you for the many years of content. Thank you for the $79.01, quite frankly. That definitely helps keep me going. That was so generous. And it was just cool to see the thing pop up for the first time. Let's see here. What else have we got? So I'm just going to continue on from there. Let's go old school Dominion. Oh, yeah. The Dominion allies. I mean, I'm going to play that myself. It feels, it feels weird to me to do an entire run through just for a Dominion expansion. I did a top 10, or it was like I think a top 14. I counted down all the Dominion expansions like 3 years ago, and I've been covering the Dominion expansion since. But it feels enough just to say, well, what's new in this? Why is it interesting? And just leave it in the roundup. Which is what I'm doing today. I'm doing the roundup. A few of the games I'm going to talk about in the roundup today do not have run-throughs. They're just games Jen and I played that because I'm just trying to get through all the games I've got on my shelves. Yep, and you're right. Dragons should have decided. But I suspect, I don't know Dragons, but I suspect Dragons is a giving and generous soul who probably wanted to allow everybody to be part of the process. And I'll scroll down, and Dragon says, "Why aren't I choosing?" Let's see here. All right, what else have we got? Roar and Write teach. Here's the deal. Roar and Write, I think, is going on the ballot for the first time this month. I'd be willing to bet it's going to get enough votes anyway. I'm sure it'll be in the top 5, maybe the top 4. So I wouldn't worry too much. That's probably going to get covered before too long anyway. What else have we got? All right. Agricola through well would be great. Yep. Well, I do have. It's not here yet, but I'm expecting the new Agricola CD expansion coming. And when that shows up, that is definitely, whenever those new things show up, Jen and I definitely like to sit down and make time and play it, just because it gives us an excuse to get Agricola back out so I can cover it. So that's an interesting thought. All righty. All right. Oh, I see. Oh, very good. Cheap Sheets. Did Dragon say? Nope. Dragon loved them all. He was happy with whatever came up. So that's cool. That was happening in the background. Decorum on the shelf. Yeah, Decorum. That was an incredibly hard game to run through. In all honesty, this one trying to keep the two, the secret non-communication co-op thing, that is tough to do because more so than most, I really have to compartmentalize off the two halves of my brain and pretend, okay, this half has no idea what this other half knows, and I have to act accordingly. That was a nightmare to film, that one. But I was happy with the end result, even though I did screw up. And I completely forgot when I was setting it up that I was supposed to put paint colors on the wall, and I totally forgot. But that's why people watch with the Klingon subtitles. Well, Dragons wasn't the only one who played bits. Dragons paid enough bits to get it over the top. But, it was 79. It was 149 total. So, Dragons was standing on the shoulders of many other people who would put in 5 bits or 10 bits or occasionally, 1,000 bits. Because one of the things that fills that up is if people buy merch. If you look down, you can see there's a link for merch. All those merch items, the coffee cups, the t-shirts, the ones of my logo or the ones of me and Ruel, I make about $10 off of any of those. So whenever one of those sells, I update this and say, oh, boom, it just got an extra 1,000. So, it wasn't just Dragon. But, oh man, Dragon, again, thank you so much. That was so kind. And so gracious that you're like, hey, these all sound great. You're a good Dragon. Alrighty. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, Old Man Coaster. Yeah, that one was definitely a tricky one to do, but a fun game to play. Very cool. All right, look at that. I've actually been interacting with the audience like I'm supposed to. But now I'm going to stop because I'm going to do what I'm actually here to do. It is my job. At the end of every month, I do a roundup where I talk about all the games I had covered for the preceding 4 or 5 weeks. Let's see. Oh, there's a last minute thing. Oh. Wow, and I just got a message that the show sponsor bitmap is only just now being emailed to me. I got to go and find that. I was going to have to edit in after the fact, but if it's here in time, I would like to do as little editing as possible to this video after the fact. So I have just opened up Exchange. It is coming. There are the graphics. I am saving as. This is very boring to listen to, I am sure. All right, I need to put that in the Twitch directory. All right, there we go. And fine. So, and now, anything else important coming in an email? No. All right, I can close that. I want as many resources as possible. Now, let's go set up. All right, so Fun Again sponsors this monthly show. That's the second one, but now I'm going to replace the Arcane Wonders, which was the sponsor of the R&R show the other day, with a new bit of box art. Let me find it. It had parenthesis 1 at the end of it. I remember that. If I just sort this by date, that will help, won't it? Details. Sort by date. There it is. All right. Boom, boom. All right. So what are they saying? And make this fit. Where is the make it fit button? Transform. Fit to screen. There we go. Isn't that the same as the normal one? That is the same, is it not? Okay, so Usually Fun Again has like some special thing they're doing in the month that they do, and then it goes to normal. Looks like they only just have the normal, so there's nothing special. So that is the Fun Again logo I'm going to have, and then I'm going to come back to me. I'm going to talk. I'm going to do an update on the channel. Maggie and Amy are on their first video went live today, blah, blah, blah. But enough about that, folks. Let's start counting down the top, or the, in countdown format. Let's see. One more thing. I was waiting if I got a message from Kim. I don't think I have that. All right. Okay. Yep. Nothing else going on. All right. Cool. So I've got everything in position, and you folks, it looks like you're just getting comfortable. Oh, Bodie Belly, I'm right there with you. I am also very excited about Museum Pictura, but it seems like nobody else is, just you and me. I will get it played eventually, I promise, in some form or other. Alrighty. Boy, I am getting warm. You know what? It's the end of April. Summer is almost here. For the last few months, it's been freezing here. You see, I'm wearing double shirts. I am not going to change my shirt in front of you all, but it is getting too warm. I am going to go off screen, off stage right, and I'll be back with a different shirt on in a second without the double layer. Hold on, everybody. Chat amongst yourselves. Guess what my replacement shirt will be. Okay, I'm back. It's the same shirt. It's another Thinker Themer shirt. I have two of them. So, because this is the month that Amy and Maggie joined the channel. So, I've been wearing their shirt quite a bit this month. Alrighty. So, there we go. And, let's see. I think everything should be ready. Spaghetti. Did I miss anything else? Thanks again to Dragons. Thanks for the follows, too. I'm getting very close to unlocking that top 10. And, yeah, okay, we are all caught up, and I think I am ready to go. Oh, let me make sure that let me close that, because that's just going to be distracting. All right, are all my browser tabs set up? There's Amy and Maggie, there's the Kim stuff, and there's all of my stuff, and there's you folks, and I don't need that anymore, so I can close that. Replacement shirts, Rush 2112. I don't get the joke, but that was not it. Is that the band? Are they getting back together in 2112? Is that like a long prophesized thing? I don't get it, but that's okay. I'm too old to get all the hip young references, I suppose. All right. Yeah, everything is good. Okay, so got the Roundup view. That's the first thing I'm actually showing when I talk about Amy and Maggie. So that's queued up, ready to go. Let's see. I'm not going to have the video, so I'm not going to need to go to
folks,
that.
So I actually played a...
I'll have to edit that in after the fact. Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure, because once I get going, I try, if I can, to do this in one unbroken take. And so I'm just trying to make sure, as if I was literally, I am filming in front of a live studio audience. And of course, I can do edits after the fact. I just hate editing. So just a little tiny bit more prep to make sure everything is in position so that hopefully I don't have to fix things after the fact. Let me go on ahead and make sure the banner is set up and it is displaying correctly. Alrighty, the first thing we're going to talk about is, oh, hey, look at that. That's not right. Boop. There we go. Put the banner in front of you little stream avatars. And, yeah, okay, so that's all cool. So that's working fine too. Everything is coming up roses. All systems go. The sound has not died again since the start show. That's really interesting. That's 2 weeks in a row where it's died when I switched to this particular scene. Don't care. Still, just got to buy a new cable and just, and move on. Okay. Yes, Dawn Gilstrap, I agree 100,000%. Amy and Maggie are amazing. I am so happy to have them on the channel. We've been talking about it for months. The Radlands video that went live today was actually their third attempt So you got to doff your cap to them. They are real troopers. They took a lot. The first one, I had a lot of feedback. It was a fun run through, but it was definitely not in my style. Where it's all about trying to let the game demonstrate itself, pretty much. And then they did a second one that was just about perfect, but they made one huge rules mistake that was so big. Paulo caught it and said, "I think they need to film it again. This is such a huge mistake." And they said, "Yeah, it was huge." So they filmed it. The third try is what just went up live today, and it's awesome. And and they are awesome too. And next month we were talking about what they might do, because we were kind of going through what they have. It came down to two games that they have in their collection. I'm trying to remember what they were now. That probably wouldn't get covered any other way. Let me see if I can find that. I'm sure that would be very, very interesting to folks. It's like a sneak peek. Let's see, but that means I got to start Skype back up. Oh, but I can't. Start with this way. There we go. Skype.exe. Start that back up. Let me see if I can find. Oh, this is driving me nuts. I know Kim finally got her copy of First Empire, so she's going to be covering that. Shay is still on honeymoon from getting married, so he's taking a break. Oh, man, there's so much in here. I can't find it. There's too much. Well, yeah, you folks will just have to... I'll mention it in coming soon when I know, but I don't know now, and I really have put it off long enough. I've got to start recording the show. So, we are ready... Spaghetti to go. So exciting, Forest of Glass. I don't know what you're excited about, but I'm glad you share my excitement. Okay, let me get going. And remember, folks, if the mic drops out, go on ahead and start hitting me with those boom stickers so I know, because I've still got you right here in my ear. And also, after we're done with this, I'm going to do a Q&A. If you have any questions, an AMA, ask me anything kind of thing. If any questions pop up while we're doing this, start your question with a question mark. Like, say, question mark, who's coming after Amy and Maggie? Or, so that, because that means they will go in a queue, and after we're done, I will go through the queue of any questions that have built up during the recording, and we'll take it from there. So that'll be at the end of the show. But right now, we're going to go to the beginning of the show. Before we go, one more thing. It'll be a quick one because not as many people as on the normal Tuesday show, but we're going to have a battle royale, and it should be pretty quick, I think. Let's see. And with actually only half the number of people normally, it'll probably be easy to follow what's happening. Look at all that. People are not just all stomping all over each other right from the get-go. I got my eye on Dragons, the MVP today. Dragons is right in the middle, the most dangerous place. And he makes a run and goes right against Feldfan. And Scott O'Brien stabs Dragons in the back. Dragons runs but doesn't get far before I start trying to stab Dragons in the back. And Dragons is out. I destroyed Dragons. Apparently, I'm revealing my true feelings, Dragons. Apparently, $79.01 was not enough for you to survive the Battle Royale. Let's see what's going on now. I'm right there in the center. I'm doing pretty good. I'm over half health. I'm going to go throw down with Deglobi. And Deglobi did not know what hit him. Fidelia, those kitty cat ears are adorable, but you can't handle the Rahdo. I'm chasing down Fidelia, and I'm going to deliver the killing blow. But now Variant Hex gets revenge and takes me out. It's now down to Variant Hex, Deglobi, and L510024. And L510024 grabs the health pack. Oh, it's anybody's game. It's down to Deglobi and Is it L5 or LS? It's very tiny. S's and 5s are very difficult. But LS gets another... Oh, just misses the health pack. So it's a true even battle. You can go either way, and it looks like Deglobi is out. Deglobi makes a run for the health pack. Doesn't make it. And LS10024, or L5, probably LS, does it. Congratulations. All right. I see Variant Hex saying that was the furthest he's ever survived. Congratulations, you almost made it. It looks like it was LS. 10,024 has won the Battle Royale. And apparently, Dragons, your largesse earlier in the show got you nothing. Nothing as one of the first people out. Buy it at my hand! No less. Alrighty. Well, that was fun. Okay, so now, one last sip, and then we're ready to record the show. Putting my little reminder up there. that while I'm recording, I'm basically treating this like a live show, so I can't do any kind of back and forth unless I actually pause. Sometimes I'll pause if like there's a big raid or something like that. But otherwise, we are ready to go. Where's the button? Where's the button? Where's the button? Okie dokie. Hey everybody, this month's episode of the R&R Show is brought to you by Fun Again Games. And welcome back everybody. Oh, it's the end of April. April, the best month of the year. At least in my world. Let me tell you why. Let me actually walk backwards. You know what happened today, folks? On April 28th, 2022, the day I'm streaming this live on Twitch, I put up the first ever run through from Amy and Maggie, Thinker Themer, one of my favorite board game media people anywhere. I absolutely love them to bits, and they did a phenomenal run through of Radlands, and I can't wait to see what they do next. They will be back next month covering more stuff. So at the end of the month of my 10th anniversary of the show, I have brought on now Shay and Ryan and Ruel and Kim and now Maggie and Amy, and I am really so happy with how the channel has been growing. So right off the bat, it's already a fantastic April. That's what happened today in April. But you know what happened just last week? Shay got married. Congratulations, Shay. Oh, I'm so happy for you. That is fantastic. And you know what happened earlier in the week? Amy and Maggie got married. Once again, proving April, the best month of the year. But you know what happened April 10 years ago? I started filming my show. This has been the month of my 10th anniversary. So another reason April is awesome, celebrating the 10th anniversary, culminating with Amy and Maggie joining. You know what happened 31 years ago in April, folks? I got married, happily married to my wife, Jen, back in 91. And we are still trucking along, happy as we have ever been. You know what happened in April 52 years ago, folks? I was born. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Thanks for everything. So April has always been a very good month for me. And I think I'm going to stop my backwards retrospective on April because I'm sure a lot of terrible things have happened in April as well. Like I think Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in April. So let's just stop right there and say nothing of import ever happened in April except for those awesome things, thereby proving once and for all that April is the greatest month of the year. And I'll tell you another reason, because I've got 17 games to talk about that were played by me and others on the channel. And that's what we are here to do, folks. And Shay, because he was off getting married and stuff, actually kind of took a month off, hasn't really recorded anything new. He will be back next month, don't worry. He's got to get back to work after he's done with his honeymoon. But to step in for Shay, Kimberly Tolson, Professor Kimberly Tolson, stepped up and recorded 3 new previews. So let's talk about them first. And I say, take it away, Kim. And I have to pause there because here's the deal, folks. I only sent an email to Kim this morning saying, hey, Kim, would you like to do a quick, just pick up your phone and talk into the phone, recording what you thought of the games you covered so I could put it in the roundup? And that was totally unfair. I should have told her like a week ago. And so I don't know if she's going to reply eventually when she sees the email, when she's out of class saying, no, I'm not going to do that. Or if she's in fact going to do it. So I don't have a video of her talking about her games to play right now. And for all I know, she is not going to do that. So what I am going to do is I'm now going to record a slightly alternate take of that where I talk through the games in case she's like, yeah, I'm fine just doing the previews, thanks, and the run-throughs. So let me get back to where I was. So, right, so I just said, Kim, What did I just say? What did I just say? Oh, I really should have written that down as I was going. So I said, Kimberly, take it away. Kimberly had 3 games. I'm sure at some point I said, Kimberly had 3 games. And then I probably said something like, Kimberly, take it away. So I'll jump in from the 3 games. And let me tell you about them. All right, so we'll just do that. All right, so. And let me tell you all about them in alphabetical order, starting with Damask, which is a very, very cool looking abstract style game that is crowdfunding right now. Kim did a fantastic run through of it, and I have to admit, really got my attention. I am not the biggest abstract player in the world, if I am honest. But this game, which has a very, very cool cube drafting system, where there's this circular drafting board in the center of the wheel, and it's kind of an Azul kind of vibe, but still very, very different, where you have to make tough choices about which cubes you're going to grab. It's not like just grab all of one color. There's a little bit more to it than that, and Kim does a fantastic job demonstrating just how incredibly challenging it is, because you will often end up grabbing cubes you don't want to get the ones that you do. And here's the thing, there will be scoring opportunities every once in a while, and if you have too many cubes on hand when one of those comes, you will lose points. So what are you going to do when you're grabbing cubes you don't want to be able to get the ones you want, knowing that they could lose you points? Here's the thing, folks. In this game, players can steal cubes from each other. And you might think, oh no, why would Rahdo want that? Rahdo's a Care Bear, he doesn't like stealing. Here's the deal, every time you steal a cube from me, I get a huge benefit from it. So it looks like from Kim's video, and again, she demonstrated this brilliantly, it looks like you can go on ahead and grab cubes knowing that, even wanting other players to steal them from you so that you can get the cubes you really want. And that level of positive interactivity is absolutely brilliant. And as well, it's a very, very sharp set collection game, nice presentation. Check out Kim's video. And it's still crowdfunding even as we speak. And so that was Damask. Then Kimberly also took a run or a preview of Final Girl. And wait a minute. Final Girl was not a paid preview. Damask was a paid preview. Final Girl was not. I paid her to cover this one because I had wanted to see this in action for quite a while, and she did a phenomenal job running through it. This game that is a solo game, which recreates the feel of like a classic 80s Friday the 13th style horror film, does that with so much theme, so much attention to atmosphere and capturing all the moments of this genre of film. And Kimberly did such an amazing job bringing that story to life and walking us through it every step of the way, showing all the really interesting, tense, challenge-based decisions, because this is a game where you are using cards to stay alive and dice. And often you have to sacrifice your cards to control the dice. But those cards are often your most powerful things. And so that tension between deciding how to manage your resources while just trying to stay alive and save as many other summer campers from what's his name, Hans the Butcher, or one of several other, mythical Jason Voorhees type characters, was really, really cool. Kim did a phenomenal job capturing the spirit of it, and I gotta say, it looks a lot of fun. Final Girl. And then the final game that Kimberly covered was a much bigger one, and it was a paid preview for Nightmare Cathedral. And here's the interesting thing, folks. This is a big, rich, deep, complex Euro-style resource management game from Board and Dice, who are really kind of at the premier for doing these kinds of really big, complex, meaty Euros. But this is not set trading in the Mediterranean or a similar type setting. This one is basically set in a nightmarish dream world full of all kinds of creepy crawlies, and players are trying to exert their influence over the land. This has the gameplay feel of a Board and Dice, but the setting of something like from a Fantasy Flight game. So it's a really interesting departure for Board and Dice, and Kim did, again, a wonderful job demonstrating how it works. I think the coolest thing about this is it's card-driven actions. Your cards let you do what you want, but kind of like Race for the Galaxy, these cards allow other players on your turn to get to do stuff as well. But it's a little bit more complex than just a Race for the Galaxy style, oh, I play a card, everybody gets to do it, because often players will get to do other different things than what I'm doing. And it has a fantastic table presence, really creepy and spooky, and again, Kim did a phenomenal job previewing it. You can go check out her video for that as well. So that was it for Kim. Our second month on the channel, a big month, 3 big games covered. But as excited as I'm about that, I am also, as I said, very excited about Amy and Maggie, Thinker-Themer, the Thinker and Themer themselves, doing their first run-through for the channel, Radlands. And I'll be honest, folks, I was not really interested in Radlands. This is a post-apocalypse oh, I've got my ragtag group of survivors, you've got yours, and we're just trying to wipe each other out as we fight over water. Very, very Mad Max inspired, which of course makes it so appropriate that, the girls from Down Under would be covering this game. But they absolutely love it, and they talked about this in their final thoughts. They, generally speaking, are kind of Care Bears themselves, especially Maggie. But this is a game that breaks the rules for them, and they find themselves really enjoying it. And folks, you have to check out that run-through that just went up at the end of the month, as I mentioned right up front, because I had so much fun watching it. I can imagine maybe I would enjoy this as well, even though it kind of goes against all of my principles. I don't want to attack you. I don't want to steal your stuff or kick down your sandcastle, and that's what this game is all about. But it's so fast playing, so high octane, and so thematic. And I'll admit, I love a Fury Road and all the rest of it. So a game that really brings that to life and does it with so much color and vibrancy and really sharp design. Well, Amy and Maggie kind of sold me on their first run through for the channel ever. Radlands. So that was it for contributors this month. And so now we are going to talk about 13 more games that Jen and I have played over the last 4 weeks or so. And I'm going to be doing this in countdown format, starting with our least favorite and ending with a new game of the month. So, although we didn't play any bad games this month. Actually, if I play a bad game, generally speaking, I just won't talk about it at all because that's the way I was raised. If I don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. Just put the game in the trade pile and move on to the next. But all 13 of these games have really, really cool elements in them. And I'm going to start out with number 13, Legends of Hellas. And the interesting thing about this game, this is a very, very light, family-friendly, cooperative game where players are actually trying to work together to take out a series of mythological creatures that are, hell-bent on destroying us. The art is fantastic, and the gameplay is super quick and elegant. As part of setup, a bunch of different creatures, minotaurs, Medusa, what have you, are randomly chosen and placed out on the board. Each one of them is a location, and each player has a little disc that represents them as a player. And you're going to move from one creature to another and play cards to that creature that match the symbols that are their weakness. Do you have to outthink them? Do you have to outfight them? Do you have to beat them with ranged attacks or whatever it might be? And everybody has a handful of cards in their hand. And really, success here is figuring out, well, who should go fight who based on the cards you've got. The tricky thing is, this is an imperfect communication game. You can't tell anybody what cards are in your hand. And so you have to make a lot of informed decisions about where you're going to go and what you're going to do based on what you see your teammates doing. And that creates for some really interesting, intense moments. But, particularly because you have the opportunity to hand cards or to your teammates or, try to collude and work together. And another important thing is you only have a few cards. If you run out of cards, it's over. You lose the fight. And every action you do, whether it's just move around, try to give a card to somebody else, you have to sacrifice cards. So you're losing them as fast as you can use them. And you cannot afford to be wasteful with these at all. And what you will often find happening is that one of your actions can be the Oracle, because drawing back cards is incredibly important too, and you don't want to draw randomly and get a bunch of cards that you know somebody else needed. So players do have the option to say, oh, let me look at the next few cards in the deck and I'll put them back in an appropriate order. That is the most interesting moment of the game, and it's also the most challenging because you have to know, right, okay, you clearly need this, but maybe you already have it, but you haven't done it yet. How am I going to move forward? So the imperfect communication really creates a lot of tension. So, it's sharp, it's fun, it's easy to teach, it's fast. It comes with, I forget, like 6 different scenarios of varying difficulty levels, so different setups. And why did it come in at the lowest? Because it is a very lightweight game. This would be a wonderful game, I think, to play with friends and family who are new to the hobby, but I would not recommend this as a game for hardcore gamer geeks like me and Jen, who have played hundreds of hours of cooperative games, because because the imperfect communication, Jen and I are often able to anticipate what the other person needs. So for us, even when we bumped it up to the high difficulty levels, it was a little bit too easy to play. But we did agree it was very smooth and charming and wonderful presentation. My number 13 of the month, Legends of Hellas. Then we go on to number 12, Switch and Signal. And the interesting thing about this one is it is a cooperative pick up and deliver train game. And that makes it very interesting, very unique, quite unlike anything else on the market. So this is certainly one of the ones I was most excited about playing because I would much rather play a co-op game than a competitive game. And while pick up and deliver is not really my jam, I have occasionally found pick up and deliver games that work really well. Like last month, we were really impressed by Autobahn, a game that's raising funds right now, because that was a pick up and deliver game where the trucks that were delivering stuff would move of their own accord. And that's what really attracted me to this game too, because our job in this game is to run the signals and switches on an existing rail line all over Europe and try to make sure that there are open paths for the trains that have to go to cities to pick up goods and then deliver them to other cities. And the trains move on their own, autonomously. It's our job just to try with a limited set of moves to stay ahead of those trains and make sure they are going to go in the right direction by readjusting the switches and signals, because we have a limited hand of cards and we can sacrifice multiple cards to do wild actions, but we have to work a lot. Okay, I can take care of that. If the train doesn't move, I'll get that thing going south on my turn. Oh no, it moved. It was the one we were hoping wouldn't move, and now it's going off to the west. Can we reroute it in another direction? It actually feels fairly thematic for an abstract game. And yeah, it's really sharp. So why did it come in at number 12? Well, first of all, I should say the collaboration between players is great. We really spent our entire time working and trying to solve the puzzle, and it was a nice, fun, challenging puzzle too. I was just a little bit disappointed because I thought the pick up and deliver was going to be, oh, the game handles all that by yourself. But one of the actions you can do is move the trains. You're like, okay, I'm not going to wait for that train to move on its own because it might not move for a while. I need to move it now so I can change these switches. And that's fun. That's a cool moment. But I found, since I don't like pick up and deliver, for my taste, I was still a little too personally responsible for making these trains slowly move across the map. If they moved 100% outside of our control, and maybe we could just adjust the speed of them rather than deciding when they do and don't move, that would have bumped it up a few. But folks, if you like cooperative games and you like trains and you are looking for and you like pick up and deliver, my gosh, you have to check out this game. It's like this game was made for you because the theme is really strong. There are special powers you can use that you have to use at the right time. It's a fun puzzle. You just gotta go into it knowing that, oh, this is cooperative pick up and deliver. I've never tried that before. Maybe it's really cool. And you should probably know, based on your own predilections, if that's going to work for you. Number 12 of the month, Switch and Signal. Then we move on to number 11, Megalomania. Now, this is an interesting one. This is a fantasy-themed, what'd you call it? Trick-taking card game. It is a competitive trick-taking card game. But I'll be honest, folks, I would be willing to bet the developers of this probably took some inspiration from the developers of, what's it called? Cannot think of the word. The Crew, because it's not as simple as, oh, look, I've got my hand of cards, I just want to win as many tricks as I can and all the rest of it. Every round, and you play through multiple rounds where everybody gets a certain number of cards in their hand, and you're going to do trick taking. Lead cards, trump suits, and whoever plays the highest of the lead. If you can't follow, you have to play something else. That means you're going to lose. All the normal trick taking card stuff is here. And the trick is, at the beginning of every round, everybody gets a certain number of cards, and a mission, a quest is drawn from the deck that says, oh, to win this quest, you have to win an even number of tricks. Or you have to win tricks only with blue cards. Or you have to lose every trick. Or you have to lose more than you win. Or you have to lose an odd number of times, or whatever it might be. And everybody sees that and is like, oh, okay. And so the puzzly nature of, well, what am I going to do? I look at my hand of cards. I think, wow, I've got a strong hand of cards. I'm probably going to win a lot. If I need to win exactly an even number of times, and there's going to be 5 rounds, I need to win either 2 or 4 of these. Can I pull that off? So this extra level of complexity really elevates it. And this is the same kind of thing you see for the missions in The Crew. But this game goes much deeper than The Crew, because after you see the mission, after you see your cards, everybody at the start of the round makes a choice. Would you like to get 2 crystals, which activate special powers on your cards. So when you play a card, if you use a crystal and you're like, oh, I'm going to lose this trick, you could, but I played the card that says, oh, low number wins now, I could suddenly win the trick, but I have to use up those precious crystals to activate the special powers of these cards. Or you can get a bunch of these black cubes, which are a resource that lets you change the value of a card. So you have a bunch of these, you're like, oh, you played a 6, I have to follow with a 4, I'm going to lose. Okay, I'll follow, and I'll put 3 of my little cubes on, turning my 4 into a 7, I win. But then the player next to me, oh, you've still got some cubes too. Are you going to be able to beat me? Should I save my cubes for later? So, and then there's a third type of resource you can get, and you get to choose. Do I want the crystals? Do I want the cubes? Or do I want these scrolls? And these scrolls are super powerful things that in various and ways pretty much let you win whenever you want, or lose whenever you want. And so you've got to make a choice of what combination of these things do I want, based on my hand, based on the mission that tells me how many times I need to win or lose over the next 5 or 8 or whatever rounds it is. And it's really clever. I thought it was very, very sharp, very well done. And if you like trick taking, but you want something more, if you like the crew and you wish, boy, I love the idea of the crew, but why isn't it competitive? That's what Megalomania gives you, a competitive trick taker with a lot of really interesting decisions because of all the special powers that the cards have, but only if you can pay for them, or the ability to manipulate the cards as you go, always trying to hit the current mission. It was very, very sharp. Why doesn't it come in higher? I mean, it's not the gameplay. The design is great. But playing this game made me realize I am only interested in playing cooperative trick takers because this is especially as a 2-player game, a very cutthroat game where you're constantly just every step of the way, every thought is bent towards, right, how can I trick you? How can I outwit you so that you win and I lose, or I win and you lose, or whatever it is I'm trying to do. And Jen and I found we just didn't like doing that to each other. We like either working together or building our own things without hurting each other. This game is a constant non-stop attack as you're constantly trying to outwit your opponents, and the game gives you so many tools to do it. I'm really impressed by it. If you wanted the crew to be competitive, you owe it to yourself to check out number 11, Megalomania. Then we move on to number 10, Animalia, another trick-taking game. Yes, I tried another one, but this one is cooperative. And I have to admit, I was really impressed by this. Not only do I really like the theme, which is all about saving endangered species all around the world in different countries, but this is a trick-taking game, like Megalomania before it, or like The Crew, that every time you set up gives everybody unique missions that they have to work on. So again, it adds an extra level of complexity. There's not just like this one universal thing. In a given time, I might have to win 4 South American tricks, and one of them has to be an elk. And then a 5th trick in this round has to be, I have to win one that will give me an elk from anywhere in the world except South America, because that's what my funding is, and I have to win those types of tricks. And meanwhile, you have to win European tricks, but you also need an elk. And so how are we going to work together to make sure you can win all the tricks you need to win, and I can win all the tricks I need to win? Again, playing fairly standard trick-taking rules. The lead card says what everybody else has to play. The high card wins. Everybody takes the trick. And now here's the interesting thing. This Animalia is a co-op game for 1, 2, or 3 players. And like The Crew, it introduces, if you've ever played The Crew as a 2-player game, which I love, it introduces a 3rd player, a wildlife agency that we all work for. And in The Crew, this 3rd player was just kind of like a dummy player that replicates the 3rd player. But in this game, it's actually a player that does a completely different thing. I forget the name, the WFA, the Wild Federation Association player, who, if you're playing a 3-player game, somebody takes on that role. And if you're playing a 2-player game or a 1-player game, that role is automated and we make choices for them. Their job is to raise funds. Because the low-value cards we can play have special powers. The high-value cards we can play raise money. And the thing is, we as individual agents can't raise money. So if we win a trick using a high value card, hey, we won the trick we needed to do, but we didn't get the funds. If the 3rd player wins a trick with a high value card, they get the funds. And they can distribute the funds to us, the actual agents, so we can use the special powers of the low value cards. And this is freaking brilliant. I was really impressed a lot with Animalia. It has that same kind of, how to puzzle out, when do I want to win, when do I want to lose, when do I want you to win, when do I want you to lose. We all have to figure this out together. We can't talk about what's in our hands, so we have to intuit what you might be able to do based on what you've done in the past. And it's got a great presentation. It's fast, it's puzzly, it works really, really well. So why didn't it come in higher? Two things. One, like the crew before it, if you're not really attuned to trick-taking tile games, this can be a challenging game to try and figure out because it's so counterintuitive. Half the time I want to win, half the time I want to lose. I want you to win, I want you to win. Trying to keep all that in mind for my wife, Jen, was a challenge. And in the same way, the crew is a challenge for her. But if anything, this one, the win conditions that we are all trying to navigate are more complex. And so for Jen, it was a little bit too much. And I say this knowing that Jen is a better gamer than me. She can handle Agricolas and Arc Novas all day long, but this one really burned her brain in a big, big way for such a tiny little trick-taking game. Me, I loved it. I was really into it. The other thing, though, if there's one complaint I have about the design, remember, if you're playing as a solo or a two-player game, there's that third player that is the WFA or whatever the Wild Fund Association, whatever it is. In the crew, they have a similar thing where there's another player who you get to see half of their cards and the other half are hidden. In this game, you get to see that all of that third player's cards. And honestly, I did not like that as much as the crew's approach, where it's imperfect information. I know either you have the card I don't see, or I know the dummy player has it, but I don't know which one of you do. In this game, I know where all the cards are. You can count them. You can figure it out because you can see all of the third player's cards, and I can see all of my cards. And so that led to a lot more card counting. And honestly, you kind of needed to do it because of the extra level of complexity with all of the missions we're trying to manage, but I still kind of wish they had adopted the crew version where I can see half of the WFA's hand and the other half will slowly be drip fed, so I can never be 100% certain where the North American Grizzly card is. Because, okay, oh, I see, they don't have it, I don't have it, I know you have it. And I can make moves knowing that you can figure that out, but I just want that extra little bit of unpredictability. Honestly, I think a great homebrew variant for this, which would increase the difficulty, would be only get to see half of the third player's cards, and they get slowly drip fed over the rest of the game. But that's my only complaint. And, this Animalia, for fans of the crew, especially if you can play it as a 3-player game, you definitely owe it to yourself to seek it out, because I think it does the crew in a fresh, new, interesting way, and it really changes up the formula. That's number 10 of the month, Animalia. Then we move on to number 9, Shinkansen Zero Kai, which is the latest game from the husband and wife design team, Isa and Isra and I can't remember their names. It's like their designer name is the first 4 letters of each of their first names. I can't remember them, but I apologize, I don't remember your names, but I remember your games. Red Cathedral was one of the 10 best games of, was it last year or the year before? And so I couldn't wait to try Shinkansen, which is all about building the world's first bullet train line in 1960s Japan, getting ready for the 64 Olympics. And this game is brilliant. It has kind of at its heart a King Domino style card draft, because every round there's going to be a certain number of cards that come out and players take turns grabbing one, and that will determine turn order, and that will also determine what special powers you give yourself for the rest of the game. Because in this game, we are trying to prepare cities to get stations built, then we're trying to build the stations, then we're trying to run rail to those stations to get everything hooked up in time, because we only have 5 years to get ready to build as much of the line as possible. But the interesting thing is, every time I grab one of these cards, it will give me new powers and will also determine player order, which again is kind of a King Domino thing. I am also giving myself goals. If I take this particular card that says Tokyo, it's incumbent on me to ensure Tokyo is hooked up on the line, or else I will lose points. And so if I get a few Tokyo cards and I was like, oh crap, I got to get Tokyo up and running, and I put a really valuable station in Tokyo, everybody else can see what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden, every Tokyo card that comes out for the rest of the game, everybody wants to grab it, because if other people get it instead of me, they get points the same way I would off of all the work that I did. And so that really adds an extra level of depth and complexity in terms of what was already a really interesting draft. On top of that, another cool thing is all the different powers of gathering resources, laying track, all the different actions you have to do. Some of them you can do with your own card, but some of the actions can only be done on other people's trains. And if I want to use actions on your train, I can do it by paying you money. And as you might imagine, that creates for some tense moments as well because, somebody who has this, okay, I know you're going to pay me the money, so I'm not going to raise money right now. I'm going to do a free, grounds preparation because I know you're going to pay me the money you need because you need to do this action on my train, don't you? Let's see what happens. And that level of interaction is wonderful. Players are so intertwined in this game. Everything I do affects you and vice versa. And we only have 5 short years to get this thing done. And if all that weren't enough, we also need to spend time and effort contributing to the actual preparation for the Olympic venues in 3 randomly chosen cities. And if we don't do that, we lose a lot of points, a lot of prestige at the end of the game too. So it's an incredibly tiny, tight little package with a lot of stuff going on. I was very, very impressed by our number 9 of the month, Shinkansen 0K. Then we move on to number 8, Voyages, which is a very, very cool game because this is available as a print and play. Actually, it was hugely successful on Kickstarter late last year because what happens is for, £4 sterling, 4 UK or British pounds, which is like $5.50 in the United States, you set up a subscription service where they will send you PDFs or JPEGs of maps of an evolving, changing world that will let you play more and more adventures in this fun little bingo-style roll and write, where we are sailing around. Every round, there are 3 dice rolled. Everybody looks at those 3 dice, picks 1 die to determine their heading, where they're going to direction they're going to sail, another die to determine how far they're going to sail, and they must go exactly that far, and a third die that will unlock special bonuses depending on what mission you're playing. And the challenge of this game is very, very high. Trying to make smart decisions about, keeping your options open, so depending on where you go, you're always happy with the results. Using your sailors, which are a limited resource, to change the value of the dice. Upgrading your sailors to heroic sailors so they can give you more control of the dice, but then they can also be used for other things. Trying to visit all the different islands that will give you different types of point scoring opportunities. And again, every map so far, if you for again £4 subscribe to this, they have released 4 unique maps so far, and they plan to keep doing it. This is one of the best deals in all of Board Game Dumb. I have now played 3 of the 4. Ruel and I played our first game of the first map live as an RVR show earlier this month, and then Jen and I spent the next couple of nights playing them on our couch in the evening before we started watching shows, because this is a roll and write with just 3 dice. And now it does require you to print the stuff out yourself. Although the interesting thing is the developers have put together a video you can find on Board Game Geek that says, hey, if you don't want to print these out, here are some digital alternatives you can use if you have a laptop or an iPad or an Android device that will let you basically turn these into little digital roll and write games. But me, I have every intention of going down to the local Kinko's. They don't have Kinko's anymore. The local FedEx office now, printing multiples of all of the maps out, getting them laminated, and keeping this game because it is fantastic. It gave me real on-tour vibes, and on-tour is one of the greatest roll and writes of all time, and Jen agreed. She was really excited and had a blast. So did Ruel when he and I played this live. You can actually go watch, and if you pay the £4 to download, you can see if you can beat Ruel's and my score with the run-through that we did with the RVR. Great, fun game, really atmospheric, and so much variety with every new map that they are releasing. All of us are very, very impressed by number 8 of the month, Voyages. But then we move on to number 7, Maracaibo Uprising, another game about sailing in the Spanish Main. And here's the thing. I covered Maracaibo quite a while ago. Uprising was a very exciting expansion for me because it does a bunch of stuff. It gives you a whole new storyline to play through, which personally I appreciate, I love. But more importantly, it gives you the option to play Maracaibo as a cooperative game. And April was really interesting. There were 3 games Jen and I played that are traditionally very well received, very highly respected, very popular, big sellers that are only competitive. And all 3 of these got co-op modules. And so, even though of these 3 games, Maracaibo is my personal high risk. Maracaibo is in my top 20 games of all time. I love it to pieces. But it was my least favorite of these 3. Hey, let's make a great competitive Euro into a co-op. And don't get me wrong, Jen and I really enjoyed it as a co-op. I think it does a really great job of giving you an automated player that both players are working as a team to beat. And it does a lot of other stuff too. I mean, what impressed me most about the game is the developers' willingness to address the concerns that a lot of people brought up with the original game about how, hey, the fantasy role we are playing in this game is one of a supporter of the colonizers of the Caribbean. And maybe we don't want to do that. Maybe that's not a really fun fantasy to portray, to be working for the English and the Spanish and the French to just maintain the status quo of colonization. And so we were... Hold on a second, folks. My phone is ringing. How exciting. I'm doing this live. And hi, everybody. I don't know what this is. I really should have looked. Ugh, it was a junk mail. I should have looked before I heard it. I should have just looked. Okay, I don't need to answer. Crap. Alrighty. Hold on a second. But anyway, since I've stopped for a second, let's go on ahead and see what's going on. Everybody doing okay? How's everybody out there? I'm certainly very thirsty. So let's see here. Old Man Kosher, the stream stopped and you had to refresh. I don't know what's going on with that. I have noticed when I did anybody, when I was doing the games that I haven't filmed run-throughs for, like Animalia, that so I just had bitmaps. Were you seeing the screen flash? Because I was seeing the screen flash in my preview page, and I don't know if that's my computer or what's going on with that. I don't know if that's something different than what was happening to you. Let's see here. Bing loves trick-taking. Oh, well then, those were both excellent trick-taking games. They didn't work for us, for the reasons I explained, but I was really impressed by both of them. Voyages is great. I'll talk about the new shipboards. You're right. Let's see here. It looks like everything's going fine. Looks like I'm holding on. All right. Need to watch Kimberly's Final Girl run-through. Yep, she did a great job. She really went so far above and beyond she tells the story the game tells, but then she embellishes it to make it come to life. And that's something I do all the time in real life. I was very, very impressed. Oh, I see people started listing things that happened in April, and I knew I should not have opened that chest. I'm not even going to look. I still say April is a great month. But yeah, I mean, maybe not the greatest month after all, but let's, okay. All right. Goblin says you weren't seeing the screen flash, just lagging. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. All right. Okay, so where was I? Oh, okay, I can just hear him saying, okay, let's see if they left a message. The automated message thing. Yeah, that was nothing. I should have just kept going. I was in the zone. Now I got to find the zone again. All right, which means I got to get back to the browser view. And, is that right? No. Oh, no. Did I have the wrong view the whole time? Have you had this view the whole time, folks? I bet you have. I went out of my way to set up this nice-looking view with everything bordered with this nice brown border, and I bet I pushed this. Didn't I? So you could see all the tabs up there? Oh, that makes me so sad. Oh, that makes me so very sad. Did I mess that up? Have you been watching this view the entire time where you could see me, switching between the tabs? Or have you been watching this view where it's the whole screen and it looks nicer? Well, it doesn't matter. Oh, I guess. Yeah. No, I can't rewind because we're still live. Oh, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. It's fixed now. Oh, man. I didn't notice the tabs until you just said it. Okay, so maybe I did actually put myself on the correct view. Hopefully I did. Okay, so it looks like people didn't notice. So, yeah, I've got two scenes right next to each other. They're both for the browser, but this is the one that's zoomed in that gets rid of all the extemporaneous stuff. So, with just this kind of gray border around it. It is what it is. I sweat over all these little details that the vast majority of the audience doesn't care about anyway, so I can just let it go. I can hold it. I don't have to hold it back anymore. So we'll be fine. We'll be fine. All right, let's continue. So just soon. All right, okay, I was just in the middle of talking about Maracaibo. All right, let's put another marker. Okay, folks, it was a junk call, unfortunately, so let's get back to it. What was I just saying? Oh, I'm really impressed with how the developers took on board all the feedback they got from folks. They were unhappy with the thematic assumptions of the original game, and so they've addressed it. Because in the Uprising expansion, the story is no longer about maintaining the status quo of the Spanish main and European control over everything, but instead helping the local indigenous people throw off the yoke of oppression. They are uprising, and it's our job, depending on which mode you play, to instead of help fight with the alongside the English, the Spanish, and the French, to fight against them and kick them out. And I loved that. I was most excited going in expecting to really love the cooperative play, and I do like the cooperative play, but whether you're playing cooperatively or competitively, you have the opportunity now to basically seed the board with all the cubes that represent the the colonizing powers, and much like the virus cubes in Pandemic, work to get them off the board and send them packing and bring freedom to the Caribbean. And aside from the fact that that is just, in gameplay terms, a much more interesting and engaging story, helping a David and Goliath type fight and persevering, but it's so much more satisfying to clean things up. The physical, elements of picking things up and returning them or converting them into points and all that is just more fun. The game is better. It is a more fun gameplay experience with these changes. So I have to say, I was so impressed with the developers willing to, not dismissing concerns, but instead trying to work with the game community to make it a more inclusive and inviting game, to make it a more engaging narrative for the game, and also to make it more fun at the same time. That is a win-win-win. So, back to what I said. The one complaint I had about the cooperative nature is there's no real direct connection between players. We never actually, there's no mechanism to say, well, hey, if we both go to the same port, we can trade items or stuff like that. And I would have wished to see something like that, because if you're playing in the cooperative mode, which again, we really enjoyed, you're pretty much playing a multiplayer solitaire game where we all have one common goal. And I think they could have done a little bit more there. But I'm so impressed by everything else they did that I absolutely adore number 7 on the list for the month, Maracaibo Uprising. Then we move on to number 6, a paid preview that I did for Citrus, which is very interesting because this is a Blade Runner, cyberpunk-esque, William Gibson style world that is a Euro. This type of game is normally not a Euro economic goods conversion type thing. These are normally games with lots of combat, lots of narrative, RPG, storytelling stuff, but not this time. This time, this is a game where we live in this world, and we are trying to gather the resources we need to convert them into victory points by fulfilling recipes, doing standard Euro type stuff that I tend to love, but in a world that we don't normally see it in. So right off the bat, that was really great. But what really impressed me about Citrus was a bunch of really interesting mixes from different ideas from different games. One of them is the, the tree from Everdell, which is largely a gimmick to have a really great Chezo presence, returns here because there is a floating city, Citrus, that everybody's trying to get to. But it's 3 levels huge, and each level has different functions, so it actually gets worked in as gameplay. This is a worker placement game that's pretty straightforward with the worker placement, but what you're doing with the worker placement is trying to develop your character. Because everybody has a particular person they're playing in this world, and there are these missions you can go on. And when you complete these missions, your character becomes better either at, getting basically government subsidies, getting passive income every round, or being able to piggyback off other players like Race for the Galaxy and getting things when other players do certain actions. Or you could focus on developing your character to get discounts on certain actions you might want to do. Or you could focus on developing your character to be able to have more mercantile stuff so you can do goods conversions at a much higher rate. And in other RPG adventure style games, all of the ways I develop my character are usually better ways to kill things. But in this game, it's better ways to do basic commerce. And so I love that. There's this RPG-esque leveling up character development system in a Euro style game, in a world that we don't normally see. But there's other things too. And probably I could talk about a lot of features of this game. You can watch my run through to see more. The most impressive thing is the area control. Because every time we do one of these missions that allows us to level our character up so we can do more stuff later, there are other things about these missions we earn. There's a set collection element where we're trying to do certain types of missions to get bonuses. We're trying to do missions to get certain factions to get bonuses. We're trying to do missions for other factions to get bonuses. So we've got these 3 different levels of set collection, but they all play out on this area control hex grid, where whenever we do a mission, we mark on the hex of the grid of the city, where did we do that mission? And that is an area control game that is very interesting because over the course of the game, we will spend the resources we're gathering to build these tubes, these towers that will get us up to the floating city where we will get big, huge points, which is awesome. But to do that, we have to pull our cubes off of the grid and put the tower where our cube was. And once the tower has been built, so I could send somebody up to the Cloud City, then the tower remains and it becomes a thing that people fight over with area control. And because to build that tower, I had to remove my workers from the board to make the tower, I have reduced my area control of that. So chances are I have made it easier for other players to get the points off of the work I did so that I could ascend up to Citrus. And I have never seen an area control game do this, where we're fighting for area dominance to score points. But the things we're actually fighting over with, area majority stuff only come about if we remove our workers from the board. So we make ourselves weaker to put the point scoring opportunities on the board that other people or us can then fight for. And that's a really cool system that is very, very fresh and unique. So Citrus has a lot of really interesting stuff going on. Very impressive first time design. It has kind of vibes of Wingspan, of Lords of Waterdeep, and then it does a whole bunch of really cool new stuff I've never seen before as well. I was very impressed with number 6, Citrus. But then we move on to number 5, Concordia Solitaria. Now, this is the second game of the month I'm talking about that takes a classic, well-loved Euro-style masterpiece from Matt Gertz, Concordia, and turns it into either a solo game or a 2-player cooperative game. I played the solo game last year when it was in an early prototype form and was really impressed, but this month I got to play it as a 2-player co-op with Jen, and I loved it to pieces. It's still the same great, super tense Concordia gameplay of trying to grab cards that are there. Again, there's a set collection element for in-game scoring, but we need these cards as a hand management thing to spread our dominance control across the Roman Empire and set up colonies. And then we have to harvest those colonies to get the resources to be able to buy more cards or to build more colonies and just expand our influence throughout the game. And Concordia has always been one of the true modern greats. But it is a competitive race game. Now, it can be a cooperative for 2-player game because what happens is all the cards of the original game have been replaced with new cards that do the same stuff. There's still the senators and the prefects and all that let us do all our normal actions. But now, on these new versions of the cards, each card lists what the opponent does. We have an opponent called Contrarius, and we have to work together to beat Contrarius. You take an average of our combined scores and it has to beat Contrarius' score. And what does Contrarius do? This is not a complex Automa AI system. This is a system where when I play a card, I know what I'm going to do. And by the way, you get to do the same thing. Every card I choose to play, my teammate, get to do as well. This is basically borrowed from the team game that was introduced in Concordia. Was it Concordia Salsa? No, Concordia Venus introduced this really wonderful team play, and now it's been turned into 2-player cooperative play. But if I play my prefect, I get to do my prefect action, you get to do it, and then we look at the card, and Contrarius does something completely different. And Contrarius, every time we do something, we're deciding what we get to do, but what I do, what my teammate does, and what our combined opponent does. And that is such a simple, elegant, and brilliant puzzle. Both Jen and I were very impressed. And unlike Maracaibo, which featured no real interplay between us, we were just playing our own games. Here, we are mostly still playing our own game, but the fact that when I play a card, I'm letting you do something, so we have to coordinate. Every time I play a card, it's really important I pay attention to what your needs are, because I'm going to let you do stuff as well. But also, we get to share our money. We get to pool our resources, so if you're ever a little broke, that's okay. I've got some extra cash. I'll hand it over to you. This is what that kind of direct, just reaching out and touching and interacting with somebody is what I was missing in Maracaibo. And Concordia Solitaria delivers on every front. Concordia was always fantastic. And the interesting thing is, this Solitaria set of rules works for every expansion, every map that has ever come out for Concordia to date. So it's absolutely awesome. It's my number 5 of the month, Concordia Solitaria. Then we move on to number 4 of the month, a wonderful roll and write called Three Sisters. And this is basically what was it? Roll and writes have been around. Well, roll and writes have been around since what, the 50s? Ever since Yahtzee? But roll and writes have been going through a huge explosion of popularity over the last few years. And we've been seeing all kinds of takes on them. But one of the most outstanding ones, it came out almost half a decade ago now, I think, was Fleet the Dice Game. Because it was the first one to introduce this idea of, hey, how about a roll and write that has so much stuff going on, each player needs 2 sheets to keep track of all the things you could do. And, since then we've seen other games do this, like Hadrian's Wall, for example. But this is from the same designers as Fleet the Dice Game. And I would say, to date, this roll and write has more potential in it for huge, incredibly explosive strings of combo gameplay, more so than anything else. Ever since Gone Shown Clever came out and didn't win the Spiel des Jahres, and really opened up the eyes of the industry to say, you know what's great in a roll and write? Amazing strings of combo moves. I do this one thing that unlocks that boop, bop, 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 bop. That's what Gone Shown Clever, or That's So Clever, did. Three Sisters says, hold my beer. I'm going to take that to an extent we've never seen it before. And it's so, in fact, this game gets so rich and complex with all the different strings of combos you can unlock as the game goes on in what is, on its surface, a really cool, simple, straightforward dice drafting game where every round, I'm going to grab a die. There's a certain number of dice rolled. I'm going to grab a die to do an action. You're going to grab a die to do an action. And then there's a die left over that everybody gets to do. It's that kind of structure. We've seen this. We've seen this in La Granja, that approach. So every round, players are already going to get to do a bunch of actions with the dice that they get access to. But those actions can start creating such huge, big strings of, because of cause and effect chains. So much so, this is the first time I've seen a roll and write that devotes a certain portion of your board to it's called the journal, because sometimes you unlock so many bonus actions that you can't keep track of it all. And so you literally have to start taking notes of, right, I got to make sure I got a wild card action, I got another wild card action, okay, and then I've got another watering action, okay, I'll do this watering action, and that unlocked 2 actions, okay, make notes of those, okay, now I'm going to do my first wild card action, all right, and now I'll do my second, and that gave me 2 more actions. You literally have to take notes because this game gets so big and rich and complex as it goes. And I was blown away by it. I think it's fantastic. I love it to bits. For my wife, she thought it was too much of a good thing. She's like, okay, you know what? I loved Gone Shown Clever, and I loved Hadrian's Wall, and I loved Fleet the Dice Game, and I love, nice, really combo strings. But for her, it was just a little bit too much. This could have probably made my personal. I'm knocking it down a couple levels because for Jen, it was too much of a good thing, is what she kept saying. It's like, it's a game where it's so big I have to literally take notes to myself, was more than she wanted. But me, it turns out I love that, and I would love to see more of it. I was super impressed, over the moon, by number 4, Three Sisters. But then we move on to number 3, Hacktivity, which was another paid Kickstarter preview, and this is another cooperative game. April was a great month for co-op. I had played more co-op games this month than I have in a long time, and I'm loving it, because co-op is my favorite. So what has Hacktivity got going on? This is a game that's actually going to be launching on Kickstarter next month in May. Or maybe it was on GameFound. It's going to be crowdfunding in May, so you can keep an eye out for it. But at its heart, this is an imperfect communication co-op. My favorite thing in the world. Ever since Hanabi came out and introduced us to that idea where, okay, I'm going to do this thing, and I hope you figure out why I'm doing this, and you can make the right choice, and we really have to get in sync with the other player and make informed decisions based on what you've seen them do. I love imperfect communication, and the way it works here is, at the beginning of it, we are in cyberspace, fighting viruses, and each of us is a hacker with our own special powers and our own unique deck of cards. And there is another deck of cards that's built as part of setup that represents the viruses we're trying to kill. And every round at the beginning of the game, all players draw a certain number of cards. At the beginning, everybody draws 3 cards. The game speeds up as it goes on, starting to draw 4 or 5 cards every round. But what you do is, I can draw as many cards as I want from my deck and from the virus deck. And then I have to resolve all of those cards. And at the same time, I'm making that decision, right, how many evil cards that are trying to kill us am I going to draw versus how many cards am I going to draw that are going to save us? And I have to, I could just, we're both almost dead. I just need to draw nothing but good cards. And you're like, but if I do that, then we're not making progress through the virus deck. And if we run out of cards before the virus deck runs out, we're pretty much doomed. But there are all kinds of doom meters in this game. We can run out of time if we take too long. There's a ticking time bomb that could explode on us. We can simply run out of cards. We can get, our firewalls can collapse, so we get our brains fried. So there's all kinds of ways we could lose. Only one way we can win. We got to empty out the virus deck before time runs out. And so we are heavily incentivized to draw as many cards from that virus deck every round as we can. But as you might imagine, every card we draw from the virus deck, you have a choice. You can either absorb all the damage it's going to do to you and hit us in a lot of different ways, or you can put it up in this kind of communal deck, or this display where you can have up to 3 or 4 at a higher player count cards that we are slowly whittling down. So it's a bird in the hand, two in the bush. I could just say, hey, I'm going to kill this virus right now, and it's going to beat the crap out of me, but I'll survive. Or this virus would kill me right now. Or it would put our timer over the edge and we can't afford to do it. So I'll put it up on the slow boat, and now we have to spend the next few rounds fighting it with all the other cards we've got. And that's an implicitly interesting decision. But it gets so much more interesting deciding how many good cards versus how many bad cards do I take when you're making the same decision at the same time, and we cannot talk about what what we've got. And it's absolutely brilliant. Jen and I were both incredibly impressed. We were very impressed by the production value. Definitely when it goes live on crowdfunding, check it out. My prototype had built-in plexiglass boards literally screwed onto the board so all the cubes would stay in place and wouldn't get shuttled around. Very, very nice. Really great appeal. The art was great. The graphic design was great. Jen was a little pushed off because there's no text. Every effect is from a big smorgasbord of icons, so some people might be taken back by that, but I didn't find it to be too problematic. And the cooperative nature of this game, it is you are very lockstep worrying every step of your way because so many of your effects can affect everybody. A lot of them can only affect me, but a lot of them can affect me and you, or can affect multiple viruses or just one virus. And once we've drawn our cards, and we can't say what's in our hands, and we have to decide, because once you've got our hand of cards, I've got my 4, you've got your 4, then we have to take turns playing cards. And we can play 1 or 2 cards, but we must play cards. And often, if I play this card right now, we lose. So I need to play this other card first. But before I can play that, you're first. You've got to play a card. And whatever you do, do not play a card to put anything in that space, because I need that space to stay open. I can't tell you why. And so you'll do something, and then I'll put that, and you're like, oh, I have a way to counter that card. And so now what you were planning on doing is going to be completely different. This is a game, every round is a voyage of discovery as we're trying to figure out, without being able to talk about, I can heal us. I can't say how much I can heal us. Don't worry. If you think you're going to get hurt, as long as it doesn't kill you, I'll be able to heal you on my turn. And you're like, okay, fine. And you take care, you're like, I didn't think you were going to get hurt that much. I can only heal you for 1. It's not that, that kind of imperfect communication that requires us to constantly change on the fly what our plans are is just delicious. I love it in so many games. I love it in Gloomhaven. I love it in Hanabi. I love it in our number 3 of the month, Hacktivity. Okay, then we move on, folks, to number 2. We've got Viticulture World, which is the 3rd game. I promised there were going to be 3 popular, classic, well-loved games that have been around for quite a while, that have always been competitive games, that now, with expansions, have been turned into co-op. And of Maracaibo, Concordia, and Viticulture, I think Viticulture World does it the best. And it's just so many interesting things. Once again, like the other 2 games, it gives us, we're still playing the game as it has always existed. If you like how Viticulture plays, it still plays like Viticulture. You still make all the same types of decisions, doing worker placement with your regular and your grande workers, trying to build up your wine-making infrastructure, trying to invest in resources, trying to pick who is going to be first at every round and what kind of bonuses you're getting. All the Viticulture biggest hits, and most importantly, those powerful visitor cards for the summer and the winter, getting them and trying to find the best time to use them. All that stuff is still there. It all works fantastically. But we have now been given, in addition to we have a group goal. Everybody has to score 25 points before the end of the game. Unlike regular viticulture, where if I recall correctly, it's a race to 30 points. So that still feels pretty much the same. We still got to score points the same way. But we have a communal renown board, a score that we have to reach of 10 as well. And the only way by default to make that renown climb is by spending 8 coins. So depending on the player difficulty, you might have to pay up to 80 coins over the course of the game. And that would bankrupt anybody. So you're constantly on the lookout for other ways that you can make that renown rise while still playing a game of viticulture. And so it's still great viticulture, and there's the interaction between players, which, like I said, was missing in Maracaibo. Concordia did it one way, but I think viticulture did it in the most fun way, because if I put my worker out on a space, like giving a tour, and then you put your grande worker on that same space, we can engage in trade. I can give you a combination of things, you can give me a combination of things, and that's so crucial to winning this game. And it really gets you so in lockstep, because what will often happen is, I'm going to be really good at growing the grapes, but I don't have a medium cellar. So we need to meet up so that before these grapes age anymore, because they're just going to be wasted on me because I don't have a medium cellar, I need to get these grapes to you. But what do you have to give me? Can you give me some cash? Okay. So if we agree that we're going to meet up on the harvest field in the winter, that's when we can do this swap before the end of the year. And there's so much intricate planning between players. In fact, some people might view it as a weakness, but Jen, I found we really love the fact that at the beginning of a year, and the game plays over 6 years, 6 rounds. A new event comes out, and then you could plan out everything you want to do in that year. And that's what Jen and I do. Okay, well, we're going to meet here on this one, and then we can work backwards on this, and it's so satisfying. It's so much fun. Now, you can't always plan everything out, because, of course, there's going to be surprises, like what cards you draw. And, so there's still going to be, things that come along. But it's absolutely fantastic. Jen and I could not get enough of this, especially because in the box, there are 7 different modules, 7 different ways you can play this cooperatively. You can play it with unique player powers. You could play it with unique objectives. You could play it with multi-use cards. You could play it with tech trees. And so there's so much variety built into this. I'm absolutely blown away, which is why Viticulture World comes in at number 2 of the month. But there's one more, folks. And we're just going to take a break because I just heard a raid. Sorry, folks. I'm in the middle of recording a show. Master Goblin Games. Thank you for the raid. Hey, everybody. Stick around. I am in the middle right now of recording my monthly, my monthly roundup, where I do a countdown of all the games I played. You just heard my number 2. I'm about to reveal my number 1 game of the month. After I'm done with that, I'm done recording the show, I'm going to stick around and do some Q&A with the audience. So if you have any questions for me, please, I would love to answer them. I'll stick around for a while. And so what you need to do is, in the make your comment with a question mark at the beginning of the question, because that'll go into a queue. And after I'm done filming, which I'm now going to finish, I'm going to talk about my game of the month, and then we're done. I'll start doing some Q&A. So ask me anything about games, about personal life, about the channel, about Maggie and Amy, whatever. And we'll have some Q&A afterwards, right after I finish the show, right after I have a sip of water. This is empty. The straw can't reach. I am going to be parched very soon, but that's okay. Let me get back to it. We're almost done. Okay. All right, so. Right. Where am I? Okay. It's Welcome to the Moon. I got to say, folks, I was excited about this game because I already like Welcome to a lot. Welcome to is a very well-loved flip and write, where players are, basically looking for combos of sets of cards that allow them to build the ideal French suburb. And always looking for point scoring opportunities. It's a great roll and write. It's gotten a lot of expansions that really mix things up. And, and spin-offs like Welcome to Las Vegas and whatnot. But Welcome to the Moon, the newest version of it, just, as far as I'm concerned, obliterates everything that's come before. In fact, I'm going to get rid of my Welcome to plus all the expansion content I got, because Welcome to the Moon, well, one, it totally changes the setting. We are no longer in the suburbs. We are actually going through an 8-chapter storyline trying to save humanity by colonizing the moon. And so this game comes with 8 different player sheets, and each one of the player sheets works with the classic Welcome to gameplay, where every round there are 3 sets of cards, a number and a power, and you've got to pick one of those sets. So, I really want to put a number 3 over here, but I don't want to use that power. I want to use that power, but that's a 7, and I don't need I can't even play that 7. How am I going to make that choice? It's always been wonderful and very well done, but now it's deeper than ever before, because each one of these 8 new player sheets, one of them is loading up the rocket to go to the moon. One of them is plotting the path to the moon. One of them is building our first outpost on the moon. One of them is doing mining on the moon. One of them is doing research on the moon. There's all kinds of stuff. And each one of these different chapters changes, or I shouldn't say changes, adds really cool new twists. Some of them are totally mind-blowing. Some of them still feel like, oh, this is 85% Welcome to with these extra little bits. And all of them, Jen and I have played 5 of the 8 missions so far, and we have been impressed by all of them. And if all that weren't enough, you could just, hey, I'll just pick a mission and play, just have some fun. Or the game comes with like a big, deep storybook with branching storylines based on the choices you make during play, so you can play through an actual narrative campaign as well. They didn't have to throw that in. They already threw so much in with the reusable player boards, 8 completely different alternate takes on Welcome to, that so far we've been very impressed by all of them. And again, the Welcome to gameplay has always been phenomenal. This is probably one of the most well-loved roll and writes, or flippin' writes out there, and Welcome to the Moon just takes everything to 11. My only warning, if in case you want to seek it out, is the first mission where you're loading up your rocket. The rules are written very badly for that mission. Go download the FAQ from the publishers, because the first time I tried to play the first mission, it was a nightmare with the rules as written. But it actually plays fun once you read the FAQ. But that's really my only complaint, because otherwise everything about this game is stellar. It's to the moon. It's Welcome to the Moon, and it is my game of the month. And that's it, folks. Phew! Like I said, right up front, April was a very, very good month. Some might say the best month. I listed out all these big milestones. Yeah, I gotta say, considering the fact that April was the month of my 10th anniversary of filming the show, it makes me so happy that I got to play so much great cooperative fun stuff. Jen and I had a blast, but you know what, folks? There's no rest for the weary. We're going to be back next month. Me and Shay and Kim and Amy and Maggie and Ruel and Ryan. The team is bigger than ever before, and we're hoping to just continue to bring you all the latest, greatest, and sometimes old classics too, as Rahdo Run Through continues for the next 10 years, to infinity and beyond. And if you want to know what's coming, folks, as always, you can hit that eye in the top right corner screen or follow the links down in the show notes to go to comingsoon.rahdo.com, and we'll see what May has in store for us. But with that out of the way, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's gone on this journey with me. Thanks to everybody who has joined the show over the last year and has just made my life so much better and the channel so much better. And also, of course, thanks to sponsor of the show, Fun Again Games. Have a very, very nice day, everybody. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye. And we're out. We are out. That's it. Okay, folks. Hello. Hi. I don't know if any of the Raiders stuck around, but if so, I can do some Q&A stuff now. First of all, let me close all of that stuff. Probably shouldn't do that. I'm probably going to regret that, but let's see. Have any questions come in? Okay, a few. So maybe this will be a very quick Q&A. That's okay. Or perhaps some other questions will come up from these. Let's see here. Alrighty. So right off the bat, Bing413 asks, if I don't have any Welcome to, what should I get? I typically play solo or with my daughters. It's the only reason not to go straight to Welcome to the Moon, quite frankly, is if you are not interested in the subject matter of an 8-chapter storyline of going to the moon, colonizing the moon, and basically doing speculative science fiction stuff. If you and your daughters have any interest in that, It is a true one-stop shop. It's absolutely fantastic. It's better than anything that's come before. I've played a lot of different variations of Welcome to, and this supplants all of them. If your daughters are not interested in that, then I would probably go to Welcome to. And Welcome to, it's interesting, has had several different very like mini expansions that basically are just like new sheets of paper where there's like thematic things that will change up the core game in small ways. And I suspect your daughters might like the ones that are tied to holidays. Like there's one for Halloween. I think there's one for Easter where Easter eggs start showing up. There's one for Christmas. So you can have that base game plus a couple of those thematic trappings. I think you'd probably find something for everybody. But again, if they like the idea of going to the moon, then it's Welcome to the Moon as far as I'm concerned. Alrighty. Next up, Goblin asked, did we settle on a look at the chat sticker? Probably won't need it today. Oh, yes, yeah. Actually, Goblin, I think everything went okay. And in fact, I mean, I'm very happy that my audio did not crap out at any time throughout, so I didn't have to hear. But for folks who are, sometimes, while I'm filming, if something goes terribly, terribly wrong, longtime viewers of the show know that they can get my attention by using the stickers down below. You can see there's a whole bunch of stickers. If you want to applaud or you want to tell me I'm wrong, I recently made all those stickers free, so help yourself if you want to pretend you're Owen Wilson or whatever. But don't use the bomb, because that's the one people use to warn me when my audios come out. And we still need to officially come up with one that warns me the chat's trying to tell me something really important and they need to get my attention. I think the hey, listen is probably the one that we would want to do. Okay, what just happened? Rogue Calypso, thank you for subscribing with Prime this very minute. We are getting closer to an RVR, thanks to you. Let's see. Actually, I should. Did anybody subscribe? Or, nope. Okay, looks like while I was filming. So, Master Goblin Games. Also, thank you for subscribing. Folks, by the way, every subscriber gets us closer to unlocking an RVR where Ruel and I will go up against you. We always try to find games where the audience can participate. Every follower gets us closer to unlocking a top 10 where I will work with the audience to come up with the top 10. And this episode, we got enough bits to unlock a bonus run-through, which I'll be filming live next month. Yay, thank you, dragons. Anyway, though, so yeah, if there's something, where are you? If I come back over here and I go down to the stickers, I think if they're during a live playthrough,
listen,
and I can't hear what I am missing the chat, and there's something really important the chat's trying to say, people can just start, hey, listen. I think that's the one. It doesn't cost anything. You can just throw that at me over and over again. And like, oh, crap, they want me to listen. And I'll look over and I can see in the chat whatever the problem is. Like, video is dropped out, or we forgot and we're looking at the wrong scene or whatever. So that's there. Or if you want, you can just go on ahead and fart too, right over my mouth as it happened. Anyway, though, so back to the questions. Let's see here. Okay, Dawn says, have I seen the announcement about Phil Walker Harding's new publishing company? How exciting is that? That is very exciting. I had no idea. I've got to get this fart out of my mouth. It will eventually go away. The stickers do eventually just... Oh, that was perfectly positioned. No, I don't know anything what you're talking about, Dawn. Let's take a look. Let's see. Phil Walker Harding, new publishing company. I am looking... Phil Walker Harding, first of all, I didn't know this. He has his own webpage that he maintains. And I'm looking at it, and I don't see him mentioning this anywhere on his own philwalkerharding.com. You'd think that's where he would have mentioned it. So, no, I don't know what you're talking about at all. But that is very interesting. He's a great designer. I've always been very impressed. And so, yeah, more power to him. That's a very bold and brave thing for him to do. Alrighty, next up. Let's see, Goblin asked, how is Viticulture World solo? The current solo rules kind of suck. I'd like to play this more, but that puts me off. Goblin, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, aren't you a Patreon backer of the show? As if so, if you back at a high enough level, you can watch. I actually did a full solo run through of Viticulture World. And, it's at the $5 a month recluse level. For folks who back me on Kickstarter for $5 a month, not only do you get to vote on what I play, not only do they unlock all kinds of stuff like screen avatars, not only do they get early sneak peeks of everything before the videos go live, but every month they get a exclusive Ramble video and a Recluse video where I do a full solo playthrough of something. And the one I did this month was Viticulture World. I'll tell you, Goblin, in case you haven't seen it, it's great. I think it's really good, and it's really interesting. It's from the Otama Factory, and the way it works is you're playing solo. You're not having to control multiple people. You just have one person. You've got to get your points. You've got to get the renown up. You don't have to get as much renown because you're just one player. And you have a teammate, which is a deck of cards. I forget what it's called. Some Italian name is your teammate. But the weird thing about this deck of cards is it's actually a teammate that gets in your way, because every round I draw a card for Futicho or whatever his name is, and it tells me all the places he blocks with his workers, so that all of a sudden I can't do those actions unless I use my Grande, or unless I pay valuable resources to move his workers off the board so I can use my regular workers in those spaces. And but there are bonuses that come on those cards as well. So every one of these cards, oh, here's the good stuff and here's the bad stuff. And it just creates this real, it recreates the competitive feel of the game, because it's like a competitive game where, because it's really just me competing, trying to get this score before time runs out, and I've got this teammate who's constantly in my way, and like, you're blocking all the spaces I need, so how am I going to get around that? Am I going to pay extra to get them out of the way? Am I going to use my Grande, or am I going to wait until he gets out of the way? And that replicates the feel of a competitive game where the other player, I was going to give a tour. Why did you could have picked any space for that? Why did you go there? And so it's really interesting. It doesn't feel like the co-op game as much, although all the really cool co-op stuff is still there, of being able to reprogram the map and all the different modules. I was really impressed. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought it was very good. My only complaint about it, now I think about it, I should have mentioned it in the roundup I just did, is there is no oh, that's not true. My only complaint about, I should have mentioned this in Viticulture World, is there's no way to control the difficulty level other than just choose different modules. You can control the difficulty level with the solo mode. So in some ways, the solo mode is even better than the co-op mode. But anyway, yeah, I was very impressed by it. And if you're at the Recluse level on the Patreon, you can watch my run through of it. Alrighty, let's see. Bing says, for the 10th anniversary, am I going to rerun my first game Helvetia or some? I thought about doing that kind of stuff, but the month's almost over, and no, I'm not doing any kind of fancy silliness. Ask me what Jen and I did to celebrate our 30th wedding anniversary. Nothing. We didn't even go out to dinner. Ask what we did for our 10th wedding anniversary. We literally forgot our 10th wedding anniversary and remembered the next day. Oh, we were supposed to, Jen and I really aren't big on celebrating stuff. You're right. I should totally do that. I should do a run through of Helvetia. I still have Helvetia, and I should film it today, and so you can see, here's where I started. One of those, where we started and where we are now. There's that meme you see all the time on Twitter where two pictures right next to each other. I should totally do that. But I've only got 2 days left, and I've got other stuff to do, so it's not going to happen. It's a good idea, though. Perhaps on the 25th anniversary, although that's not happening. There's no way I'm going to make it that long. Alrighty. Goblin. Looks like, oh my gosh, folks, we're running out of time. If you got no more questions, that's okay. We'll get out of here early. But right now, Goblin's last question is, 10 years ago, what game would have blown my mind the most and been accessible if it had been available back then? So you're saying what game, because obviously game design has advanced a lot over the last decade. The industry has changed so radically. It's so different than when I first got in, and we were still at the tail end of publishers not really caring about two couples gamers, or barely doing anything. Co-op wasn't a thing. Obviously Kickstarter has changed everything as well. There's so many cool new advances in game design that have come up. But 10 years ago, what game would have blown my mind the most and been accessible? I think, what's it? Tom Vassell and I, 2 years ago, I guess, at 2020, we did a top 10 most influential games of the last decade. You can find it on Dice Tower. Do a search for Dice Tower, Rahdo, top 10 influential. You'll find this thing. We did it. And it was us saying what were the most influential games that introduced new ideas in either in publishing or design or production or whatever. I do not remember what my number one was. I'd probably say whatever my number one game was. But the first thing that pops in my head, and maybe it's because I just talked about it a lot in this month's, is what do you call it? Imperfect Communication Co-op. It has fast become my favorite thing. A co-op game. Co-op games, if they don't have some kind of random confuzzler, they just become very rote affairs where, okay, we're just going to do all these things. We need some kind of randomness. And, most of the time, most co-op games bring that in the form of an event deck. That's what Viticulture World does. But as an example, Now that I think about it, does Concordia Solitaria have any randomness to it whatsoever? Oh, it has randomness die rolls because you don't know exactly where Contrarius, what cities Contrarius is going to move into because he chooses with a die, and so most of the time they do this, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That kind of randomness to keep it from all just being completely preordained, and you can just math everything out. You need that kind of randomness, and that's fine when it comes from the game. But I think it's so much more interesting when that randomness comes from your teammates, who essentially are on the same side as you, and we should all be doing the same thing. But because they can't come right out and say what what they've got in their hand or what their plans are, because there are rules. We can speak in clues, or we can only speak during certain phases, or whatever it might be. A lot of different games do this very differently, but it's fast becoming a thing. I just talked about a few of them in this episode that we played over the last month. And honestly, if you talk about 10 years ago, pandemic brought me into the industry. And at the time, there was very little otherwise that was co-op. And so pandemic defined everything. And here's the interesting thing. Almost 10 years ago, Hanabi was out there. It just hadn't really been discovered yet. But Hanabi, I listed as one of the most influential games of the last 10 years. Because it may not have been the first one to have imperfect communication cooperation, but it was certainly the one that put it on the map. And if I had seen it, it blew my mind the first time I saw it, and that would have happened no matter when. And if that had come sooner, I think the evolution of co-op into our industry might have gone a very different way. So I would have loved to have seen something like that. So that's the first thing that pops into my head. But if you want more ideas, like I said, literally, just go find that Rahdo, Dice Tower, top 10 influential games. Any of those games I talk about, chances are, would fit that criterion. And, wow, that was it. Okay, no more questions. Is that right? Yep. Alrighty. Then I guess we are done, folks. And so all that's left to do is raid, raid, raid. So let me go on ahead and hey, there's Rainer. What you up to, Rainer? He is doing... Oh, Rainer is continuing his top 100 games of all time. Rainer is a developer at Board and Dice. He's a great guy. He's got great taste in games. I suggest everybody go say hello and see if you can guess what his number 61 is. The greatest game of all time, because he is about to reveal it to everybody right now. So, stick around. Go tell Rainer, hey, tell him Rahdo sent you. And wonder if his number 61 is going to be a Board and Dice game. Well, you can go find out, everybody. So, raid! Go, 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 go! And hopefully it's working. And let's see if it does. It looks like we made it. All right. In which case, I am out of here, folks. I will see you next week for the next R&R. And now I got to get to work editing this video into something usable. Talk to you later, everybody. So long. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.